Today's show is brought to you by Lovable. Here we go.
We have one half of the chess brawl duo sitting in here in Magnus's office, going to be streaming today, Aman Hambleton, and we have Eric Hansen in the studio. He's going to be commentating on Aman's games and all the other top players. Let's get ready.
It looks like Farouche is almost getting it done on the board. Should still be a draw. He's losing now suddenly.
He's throwing a thorn into the white side, holding on here for dear life. The nerves are kicking in.
He's playing with Ghost, afraid to commit.
Did he lose on time?
The clock is his worst enemy right now.
Oh, look at this. He's trapped his own king in the corner. The black rook is hit as well.
Whoa, is this a blunder?
Checkmate is coming.
Welcome to the Take studio, where we have a change today. Instead of David Howell, our regular commentator, we've got you flown in from Canada. And Eric, welcome.
Thank you. Last time I played, today I'm happy to commentate.
And last time you did play, and you were sitting in the streaming room, and now you're going to be in the studio. You've just got back from the Speed Chess Championships. It's a lot of chess commentating going on for you these days. It
is, but it's speed chess. It's always exciting. I mean, there's been upsets pretty much every single time.
And last time when you were here the first week of Title Tuesday. Do you remember this?
Unfortunately, I do. It wasn't my best result, but I do remember the grand opening here.
And you scored 7.5 points, got 29th place. What's the best thing what's your best result ever in Title Tuesday?
I've tied for first a couple, 2 or 3 times, but Hikaru's always had better tie breaks. So I finished in the top 3 a few times, but I've never won it outright. And that's elusive, and I think my results are going down a little bit.
And you got 7.5 points, and you're going to be sitting here. And in the other room, you have the other half of the chess brawl duo, Aman. How do you consider his chances?
He hasn't played this format. That could be good, it could be bad. But if he finds his speed, I think he's got good chances to top that score, which means I want to see some dirty flagging, because he's really good at that when he wants to be.
And we might not expect him to win the entire thing. So instead, we have prepared a poster showing all of our streamer guests different results. And let's see, where are you? You are in 6th place here, or tied for 6th, I should say. How do you assess the different guests we've had here?
No, a lot of strong players. 6 isn't too bad considering. I mean, I'm a half point ahead of Aryan. He's not going to be happy about that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the guests, I think 8 points would be like a nice score for Aman, just getting on that top row. I think he's got good chances for that. He just has to start well, because it's a very easy tournament to get tilted, lose a couple of games, you know you're winning. So it really depends on the start here, but I think it's very, very doable.
For someone of my level, to put this in comparison, I got 3 points when I played, and I was one of the first people to get a bye or a walkover in the early rounds because I was so low rated. And then I got the free point, and then I had to play against people who had a point, and it was a nightmare. And I lost 7 games in a row. It was so discouraging. And then also a lot of people are dropping out towards the end of the tournament, so it actually just got harder and harder. And I was just happy to get 3 points. So I think being able to perform in the streaming booth, especially in Magnus's office, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, that's pressure. I didn't play in Magnus's office, but Aman's got that set up. I think he'll do well, though. I'm excited.
Yeah. And you and Aman, you were just at the Speed Chess Championship now in London, and you were commentating there. What was the atmosphere like?
It was sold out, so lots of fans. It's in London, which, big city, one of the biggest cities in the world with a rich chess history. So I think the atmosphere is really good. And You know, you had just Hikaru and Magnus, for example, the two biggest names in speed chess. So I thought that was a really well-run event. Hopefully the fans at home thought the same thing. But I know from speaking to players, or sorry, fans that attended in person, it was good. I mean, having the arena like you see on the screen right now, you're so close to the players, and they even had sometimes an open mic. So definitely the level of engagement was higher than usual.
And Magnus won the event. Nobody was too surprised. He even asked the audience, like, you're allowed to root for the favorite sometimes. Everyone was kind of cheering on Alireza, who made it to the final. And then in the bronze final, it was quite surprising, I would say, that Hikaru ended up losing to Lazovic.
That was a huge surprise. It was really fun to commentate the match. Kind of today, I'm expecting Hikaru to play and try to win the tournament because, you know, it's losing like that we haven't seen from him before, and people are kind of questioning, is he falling off? I think he's the type of very competitive guy to play the title Tuesday and try to win today.
And then there was some drama as well because Hikaru's computer disconnected in some way, like his moves weren't being transferred. He ended up losing on time, and it happened so many times to him. He seemed very visibly frustrated with that.
Yeah, that just like stops the momentum. When you're in a match, you want to be in a state of flow, just focused on the chess, no interruptions. So that's very unfortunate. It happened, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then he also had something at the end of the event where he said maybe he forgot the rules in a brief moment. Definitely not his A game. I'm expecting, if he does show up today, a much stronger performance.
And the Speed Chess Championship was very important also for what's going to be going on here today, kind of as you were mentioning, because the points that they get from the Speed Chess Championship, one of the ways to qualify for the Esports World Cup, which is what everything is all about here. If you put it among the top 3, you qualify for the Esports World Cup. Magnus was already qualified, so then spots 2 and 3 became really important. The bronze final was actually incredibly important, and given the results in the Speed Chess Championship, we can take a look at the updated Champions Chess Tour scoreboard, where we've now made some changes. We see that Magnus, Lazovic, and Firouzja, we no longer calculate their points because they're all qualified. They're guaranteed to make it to the Esports World Cup. And now we do see that Hikaru, although he got a disappointing 4th place, he did get 100 points from the Speed Chess Championship.
Yeah, it looks like Hikaru, even though he lost that 3rd place match, it was more important for Lazovic.
Yeah.
Because now he's directly through. Hikaru, I mean, he's got a big lead. He's going to make it to the EWC. It'd be hard to envision an EWC taking place without Hikaru playing. So I think today he's not playing to try to qualify for EWC. He's doing very well. He does like to add up those points, but I think he's there to win 1st place and remind everyone how strong he can be.
And we can also notice that quite a couple of players here, the ones who lost out in the quarterfinals, they all got 50 points. And that seems very important for the likes of Wesley So, who actually only had 1 single point so far in the Title Tuesdays.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the busy time of year again, maybe more tournaments. Not every player you see on the leaderboard is played, let's say, every Title Tuesday. And so you really want to, getting that 50 points gives you a bit of a buffer going into the rest of the split. And we definitely know Wesley, some of those guys. They used to always be in these top-level events, but now so many young, strong players are appearing that it's not something you can take for granted anymore. They need to show up pretty much every Tuesday, try to do their best to rack up those podium finishes, because this is the premier event, the prize fund, everything about that. Not enough spots for the amount of world-class players there, and there's going to be a few big names missing out by the end of the split.
And let's take a look at what names we do have signed up so far. And I do see Hikaru Nakamura and Wesley So. They are both getting ready. And a lot of these players, they're going to have a hectic week ahead of them because already this weekend, there's going to be another world champion, an official world championship match in freestyle chess.
That's right. I'm not even super up to date on it because it seems like they just organized it last minute. It's just hard to follow everything going on there.
And we can take a look at the players who are going to be participating there because it's 8 players. We've got Carlsen, we've got Aronian, we've got Caruana, Kamer, Erigaisi, and Sindarov. All of those players, they're qualified because they did so well in the Freestyle Chess Tour that was played last year. And then Neiman, he's been selected, and Abdusatorov, he is qualified through the open qualifier that was a necessity to have for FIDE to call this a world championship. They needed some spot to be open to the world, and they only allocated one spot. So there was, in fact, a critique from 2 former Fischer Random Championship champions when it was called Fischer Random and not Freestyle. Wesley here, he says, to call it a world championship and then handpick 7 out of 8 players, that does not seem like a world championship. When the event started, the players were mostly handpicked, and now they're selecting the top 7 of last year's tour, but all the players were handpicked to begin with. What do you think of what Wesley has to say here? Does he have a point?
He has a point, but I think it's been consistent from my perspective that the organizers don't really know what they're doing, and it wouldn't surprise me if this was put together last minute because of a string of failures in trying to actually establish a tour and make it commercially viable over the last couple of years. It seems from the outside perspective that a lot of money's been burned, and then they fighting with FIDE, now they're back together with FIDE, back and forth with reduced events. It's not a good sign, and I definitely, from a competitive integrity perspective, one spot for the rest of the world and invited players is really that's not correct at all. I think Wesley has a good case, but so do so many other players that never even had that opportunity. They're all in the same boat. It should be everyone has to qualify for it pretty much. I mean, maybe defending champion or something, but not 6 out of 8 players or 7 out of 8 players. That was definitely a last minute. I don't know. To me, it's just a very poor outlook on the whole format.
And speaking of last minute, Hikaru, also technically the reigning champion of Fischer Random, now called Freestyle, he says, I think it might hold the record for the most rushed arrangement for a world championship title in history. And hard to disagree with him on that one. Hikaru, he also said in this same statement that he is putting his focus on the candidates tournament. So he's still trying to get that world championship title in classical chess.
That's the most prestigious championship we have for sure. So definitely understand that decision. You never know if you're going to qualify for another candidates. He's getting a little bit older. That is the holy grail of chess. And as he said, it's a very rushed world championship title, and that means it won't even carry the same prestige as what it could have been.
And it will be exciting to see if any of these freestyle world champions are, or the people who are participating in the freestyle world championship have signed up. We do see Abdusatorov has signed up as well, and we see Fabiano Caruana. So a lot of big names in chess. But besides all of these players, we do know one player who's going to be participating, and that is Aman Hambleton, who is playing from Magnus's office.
The people who have followed chess right from the start have seen the channel begin with our typical speed chess, bullet, doing all these challenges, and it's fair to say we don't have absolutely the largest community, but a very, very close community, very loyal, very supportive. Yeah, it's very special. You don't just have a close community, it really is all 10, 11 years that we've been doing it, it's been building it up. These are kind of the videos in the series that I enjoy making the most because I feel they're incredibly useful. If you want to learn how to play the Queen's Gambit, you have a Grandmaster playing the opening at 400 ELO, so if you're 500 ELO, you're going to see how the 500s play against it, how we should play.
Check.
I'm kind of excited to play. My best score was maybe 9 points, but I do not score 9 points almost ever. And I've played Title Tuesday since they pretty much created this event. If I play lower rated players for much of the event, I feel like I could lose over and over. So I need to get a good start. So maybe get some higher rated pairings and get the confidence going. So that would be a big deal. Just a good start.
Aman is looking for a good start, and we see him ready in the studio. There's only 30 seconds to go, so let's get ready for Game Week 11.
But now, can Magnus keep advancing with his king? Can he take that pawn? Oh my God, Magnus is going to lose. Oh no! Queen takes knight was winning. Magnus got checkmated in that exact way last week, but not this time. 8 seconds. Danny 2 seconds behind, but it's a dead drawn endgames. 1 second, the clock's so red now, and draw by repetition.
Oh my gosh, just drew with 0.7 seconds against David Fryer. What is going on here?
Preferring black.
Look at that. Faustino he saw straight away. I love that.
6 seconds. He's going to be a pawn up. This is going to be a ruthless flag from Pranav.
Oh.
Faustino blunders. He pre-moved there. Faustino heartbroken as he resigns.
So that was some of the action from last week, but we're getting ready to see the pairings for the first round. And in the first round, Eric, it's so important to get a good start for Aman and for all the other top players participating.
Yeah, if you end up losing the first round, you get easier pairings, but tie breaks, there's a lot of other factors, confidence, and there's a lot of underrated players. So even though if you play someone low rated, a lot of them are so motivated to take down one of the big names that, yeah, definitely go for the best start possible.
When I've participated, my dream is like to play against Magnus or Hikaru, but the problem is that I need to win so many games to make that happen that it hasn't been possible. And you also have to be on like the best you have to have enough rating to play against these top guys because they're not playing against anyone. And this tournament is open for anyone with a title, with a chess title. And that means Grandmasters, International Masters, FIDE Masters, but even Candidate Masters. And there's quite a big range of levels participating.
Yeah, I mean, it is open to all title players, and there's quite a few titles to keep track of these days. And I mean, I noticed you guys had the country count there. You see, I think it was at 68, 69 countries. It's definitely very, very global. And I mean, for me, you're playing sometimes 12-year-olds that are CMs that are 3,000 rated on chess.com. It's like really impressive.
Have you been above 3,000?
Yeah, I'm above 3,000.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
That's usually like the goal, I guess, for like really good players is to cross 3,000. I feel like on chess.com, that's like grandmaster level.
3,000 is good. It feels like there's a little bit of inflation right now. That now 3,100 is where I want to stay above.
Okay.
But 3,000 definitely. The digit starts with 3. You feel very good about yourself. You're in the same, Magnus is maybe 3,300,
Yeah.
but at least there's the 3 instead of a 2.
Yeah.
And you both start off the same. So definitely, but every week you see so many upsets. Like you'll see a 2,600 beating like 4 3,000s in a row. The ratings. Once you get past the psychological effect and people that play every week, they get the experience of this event gives you the opportunity to play players normally outside of your rating bracket, and the psychological aspects in chess can really be removed a little bit when you gain so much experience and you take down your first 3,000. So that's why a lot of these players are so fearless.
Yeah, I haven't taken down anybody at 3,000, but I haven't participated in that many title
you gotta
Tuesdays
keep playing.
yet. Yeah, but I'm busy being here, and we are waiting for the games, but we're having a bit of a technical issue, so we're not getting the move transfers just yet. But we're hoping that will be fixed soon. But in the meantime, Eric, you've been participating in the Title Tuesdays like pretty regularly now. What is a goal? Like, do you have a specific goal of the amount of points, the placement? What is your mentality when you're playing these Title Tuesdays?
Mentality is to try to win. That hasn't been happening. I mean, win the overall event, because I think that's the best mindset to have. And I haven't been doing that. So then it's been, okay, let's work on playing from behind, because I've been losing games early. The whole format that they have with the splits and everything is consistency. Magnus, Hikaru, they have bad weeks, but they play every week when they can, and even when they lose, they don't withdraw. They generally keep playing to try to get 8-9 points. So it's still consistency, even though it's speed chess. Over the course of a season, the players that everyone's going to lose games, everyone's going to have a bad week, but the players that recover the fastest end up near the top of the leaderboard.
And Hikaru, he's been struggling for quite a while now. He hasn't really been making the best results ever since becoming a father. Do you think that's affecting his play, both in the Speed Chess Championship and here?
I'm not a father, so I can't speak too much on that. I don't know what his day-to-day is, because is he losing sleep because he's a father, and I don't know. It could just be a rough period that quite a few people go through. I think we need a bit more time to tell whether it's a long-term thing or not. And definitely, though, he's a hyper-competitive guy that I remember in the past when Hikaru would lose a game in Classical, during a Classical tournament, he would go online and play chess games to recover.
Yeah.
That's how he builds his confidence back up. So Title Tuesdays are really, he's here with a purpose.
Yeah, because after getting 4th place in the Speed Chess Championships, we can see here he's already started playing. We finally have the game in front of us, and Hikaru, he hasn't gotten the best start here. He needs the confidence.
Yeah, no, White's position, I played him last time I was here, and I actually had a winning position at some point, but he's so tricky. I mean, looking at this position, time's a big factor here. Hikaru's up more than a minute with this B file. You see the rooks, the double rooks for black, aimed at the queen side, that pawn on B2. It's just an easy to play position for black, and well, there is no increment. I think a minute, you can't give Hikaru a minute plus on the clock.
And Hikaru, he has played in the Speed Chess Championship, which was in London, and now he's made his way back to his office. Let's hear what he's saying.
I think everybody talks about chess like it should be so much bigger than it is. When you look at these events, you think things like disconnections or these technical and computers lagging, aside from even getting disconnected, it's kind of like you come to I've kind of come to the unfortunate realization that I think chess is kind of like, it's where it is, and don't get me wrong, chess is doing very well. 1 second.
It's very funny to hear him talk about something completely different while he's playing a game, and now he's like, wait a second, I need to start paying attention. Do you think it's easy to talk while you're playing?
No, it's really hard, and he has a very good ability to do that. I think he's talking about overall things because that's what people expect. This is his first event after the SEC, and he feels an obligation to elaborate or explain his perspective from playing. So, no, once you're in the spotlight, you don't really, you're always in the spotlight, and people are asking questions all the time, and it's really hard to balance that.
But it does look like his Turkish opponent, an international master here, he is making some advancements. I mean, he has a lot of pieces on Hikaru's half.
It's just the time, just 20 seconds. There's no increment. Am I mistaken? Like is he down to...
You think it's...
Oh, sorry. My screen has a bit of a different time situation. Sorry.
Okay, yeah,
that's
but
why.
now it's 20 seconds.
I see it. No, I was seeing something different. Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
Hikaru's very good at beating low-rated players, and he plays openings and risky positions on purpose. Like, he accepts bad positions. So here, I think White's been playing very well, but I'm at some point, I still think that time's going to be a factor. So after queen takes, okay, White's up a pawn, but if this attack kind of disappears for White on the 7th rank with that queen trade, Black's just going to pick up the d5 pawn. It feels like, I don't know, White's king. If there's no mate on f7,
then you think Hikaru's
king on
got it?
White, that king on White, it doesn't have any protection.
Yeah, all the pieces are on the left side.
When you overcommit, like all of White's pieces are on the queen side. If this doesn't lead to something really good, once Hikaru starts attacking, there aren't pieces to defend.
Yeah, but Hikaru is also down to a minute almost now. It's gonna be a bullet match.
Yeah, he can give a check on d1 on the back rank. There's an opportunity there to give a check, but he's trying to look a little further. Oh, here we go, knight.
Oh.
He wants to bring the knight.
He wants some kind of tricks, and his opponent is spending quite a couple of seconds now trying to figure this out.
That would force the king back down, and there'd be discovery opportunities. So, tough decision here. This is very sharp, and generally, unless Hikaru blunders here, he does thrive in these open, sharp tactics. He calculates very fast. Oh, here we go. That can't be right. Because the problem is now there's no attack for White, traded off the rooks, so there's no mating attacks. And even if Hikaru is not better, let's say material's even. In this case, that 30 seconds is a really big deal.
And
he's looking for something really good. Where can you place the knight? Everywhere you place the knight, it's a check. Is there anywhere you can place it that leads to a checkmate? The good thing is, as I said, if he doesn't find anything really good, time is still on his side.
And his opponent shaking his head. He's realizing he has too little time. Hikaru's keeping the queens on the board.
Yeah, Hikaru has different ways of winning games, right? He can win with tactics. In this case, he's just a faster player and will never allow you to get into an easy drawn endgame.
And his opponent
5
down
seconds,
to 5
you have to
seconds
start
left.
pre-moving everything.
Ooh.
F7 is being hit. Hikaru's going to play king, king up. White's fishing for a checkmate, but there's not
risky.
enough pieces.
Risky.
Not enough pieces.
And Hikaru doesn't even care that in the final position, he is actually not doing so well.
You even see Hikaru's like talking during the time scramble, very relaxed. When you're up that much time on the clock, unless you fall for checkmate, you simply know your opponent will lose on time. And
Oh, and look at Wesley So. He's actually lost his first game. We were talking about earlier that he only has a single point in Title Tuesday. And a lot of that is because he hasn't been prioritizing this tournament that highly. He hasn't been participating every single week. But it's a tough blow to lose the first game here.
that's a big upset. He loses with White, and Wesley's a really solid player. With Black, you know you try to win as the higher rated player, but that means you sometimes have to take risks in worse positions or equal positions. But with White, Wesley's like so consistent that I'm almost curious to see what happened there.
It's going to be interesting to look at, but any moment now we will be getting the pairings for round 2. Other than that, I can't really see that there's any upsets. It seems like most of the favorites have won their first game. We've got big names participating. Magnus, he's not playing today, so this could be a very good opportunity for Hikaru, who's trying to get some revenge for the Speed Chess Championship, who's trying to get some more first places in Title Tuesday. He's trailing Magnus by quite a lot there. And we can see now that the pairings for the second round have come up. And it will be interesting to see if we get any more upsets in the following rounds. We continue to follow Hikaru, who's smiling and seems to be in a good mood.
Yeah, no, he's back in his element. He's back at home in his office. You see the pineapple there, and this is where he built, a big fan base. A lot of his best wins online, Champions Chess Tour, Chess.com, everything. He's comfortable here. He's playing I believe a Scottish teenager, one of their biggest talents they've ever had.
Oh,
So this is a young. I think he's maybe 13, 14 years old. See that blitz rating around 2,900. Certainly no pushover. These are the types of players that are here for upsets. This is they grew up even watching Hikaru, which is shows how much like the internet has changed.
because there are not many sports where you can see, like, here we see him, the 15-year-old he is from Scotland, playing against the second highest rated player in the world right now. It's a pretty unique thing that these players can participate and face off against such highly rated players. And we see that there are several of the candidates who are playing this week. We've got Nakamura, Caruana, Sindarov, and Yespenko. All of them will be participating in the candidates tournament in the beginning of April, end of March. And it's hard to also prioritize playing so many online tournaments when you have such an important tournament to prepare for, and you don't want to give away any of your opening preparation.
That's exactly right. And why are they playing now? Because as it gets closer to the candidates, I expect some of those names to not play. So they want to maximize their results, so they finish. They're near the top of the leaderboard, and in case they have to miss a month because of the candidates, that they'll still have qualification chances. So it's really for those players that are playing the candidates but aren't guaranteed to make it to the EWC. This is the month, February, where they're hoping for good results, because once it comes March, candidates is in April, training camp time. Oftentimes they'll go with their team, rent out a house, just do chess all day and try to change their mentality and get ready for the candidates. And February, not quite, but expect March. Some of those names might end up having to decide, it's today, are we working on novelties or am I trying to win Title Tuesday?
And it's going to be interesting because this could be like the final chance that Hikaru has to participate in the candidates qualify for the World Championship match, which he hasn't done so far in his career. And he's made it very clear that that's the big dream he has in chess.
It is. I think it's most players' dream, and Hikaru does realistically recognize that it's one of his last opportunities, most likely. And so why not maximize it? position we have here in front of us, Black's bishops are, quite active as long as that, light squared bishop doesn't get trapped. And that's what the calculation is right now. Is that bishop stuck? Doesn't look like it. You can move it back. But all of a sudden, it's a pretty open position. Here comes the bishop, tickling the queen from behind. White has that passed pawn in the middle. Black has the c-file. Pretty competitive start so far.
Yeah, and the computer's evaluation is saying that the Scottish teenager is slightly better. And Hikaru is struggling to find a place for his queen. He looks a little bit skeptical.
Yeah, the queen is a bit misplaced on the edge of the board, and that pawn, that passed pawn White has, is only supported by that bishop, that fianchettoed bishop. So look at Black's position. The knight and the rook are both attacking d5, and it's hard for White to defend because the queen is boxed out, and the rooks can't slide over to defend the pawn from behind because that bishop is covering the square.
Ooh.
And
is he losing the pawn?
Losing the pawn potentially, but at the same time, Black's e-pawn, that center pawn, is also loose.
Oh.
So the thing is, if everything gets traded off, I win a pawn, you win a pawn, Black's still doing okay because Hikaru's queen is on the edge of the board.
Oh, but Hikaru doesn't take the pawn immediately. And we can see that Waldhausen, he is taking this game very seriously in the way that he's like holding his head in his hands and he's leaning forwards. Hikaru,
yeah, we have
look
the
at
forehead
his
cam.
face. Yeah. Hikaru's not really saying much either. That usually a sign that he feels like the position is requiring a lot of concentration from him.
Of course, I missed that too.
So
of course I missed that
no,
too.
we're seeing some loose pawns here, Hikaru. It's definitely, I don't think he's in big trouble yet, but I don't see an advantage here. Black's position looks very active. See that queen in the middle of the board. We see this pawn that Black has some pressure on.
And
Hikaru really needs to bring the queen back in the game. So at some point he has to decide, oh, he's played it. I'm not going to keep defending that pawn over here on the queen side. My best chance of winning this game is with activity.
Okay. And now Hikaru is trying to evolve his rook and his queen.
Hikaru's down a pawn, but his position is now easier to play. Really active pieces, control over a file. Queen is back in the game. It's a risky decision, but generally when he does it, he's got a plan. He favors his practical chances. I like this move, pushing the H-pawn. You just want to push it down the board, and sometimes you can use that pawn, coordinate with your queen, and generate some checkmating ideas.
Hikaru's shaking his head a lot. He seems unhappy.
I go rook d7. Now there's b4, some nonsense.
Some nonsense.
Yeah, Hikaru is making some mistakes here. What he just said is correct. The thing for Black here, the bishop wants to join the game. So at some point, Frederick Waldhausen needs to find a way to get that bishop in the game. But so far, he's doing very well.
Can we see a back and forth here? I can't imagine Hikaru thinking that's a good idea.
Here we go. That move, you might lose that pawn, but if you can bring your bishop in the game. The worst thing is when you lose a game, you get checkmated, and you have a piece like stuck on the side of the board. It's like, why did I not use all of my pieces? And so this decision right here, maybe Hikaru can take that pawn. That's what he's calculating. Either way, oh wow, we see some more head shaking. Hikaru's going for the kill.
Ooh.
Look for the rook for Hikaru to sacrifice and open up, rip open the 7th rank. Some serious threats here. This is a very, very serious threat. Rook moving forward, sacrificing for the knight, trying to gain access to the g7 square.
But according to the computer, there is some solution.
There is. It's just, can he find it? Is there enough time?
He's spending a lot of time.
Yes.
And think about how important this game could be for him to beat the number 2 in the world.
I thought that's a great move. That's a great move. Because if rook takes knight, instead of taking the rook back, you take the other rook on the queen side. And Hikaru's probably not happy because this allows some trades.
Rook e5, queen d6 takes.
He is calculating as much as he can. but it seems very complicated now with all these pieces hanging in all kinds of directions. And both of them down to less than a minute and 10 seconds. Hikaru has less time on the clock. That's very rare that we see that.
No, that's right. Trying to figure out, can he keep more pieces on the board? He wants to put pressure on his younger opponent. Rook e5 with the threat, hitting the queen horizontally. And is queen moves down, looking to pin that rook. Hikaru takes the pawn. There's a move here, though. There should be an issue. What's the move for black? He's got a bit of time to think, and this rook on e5 is pinned. Knight g7. The fianchetting the knight's not what you see every day.
Wow. And it's still quite even on the clocks.
If I'm playing black, I need to trade pieces off. It's an uncomfortable position to just play with so much material, because there's checkmate threats towards black's king.
And does chase Hikaru's queen back with both his knight and his rook. Where's that queen going to go now?
Hikaru sacrificed, but now all of a sudden we see a big threat coming in, a big fork. Wait, what is that?
What is going on?
Oh, that's a blunder. That's just a blunder. Discover check, picks up the queen.
And his opponent resigns.
We all warm up and get into it. But another very, very poor game.
Okay, so Hikaru, he is critical of his own play here, but he does get his second win. And let's see how Aman is doing. He's got 25 seconds left against 10. This is promising.
Aman being up on time is a miracle. It's a miracle. And black's king is very weak here. You know what Aman might do? Okay, he's pushing the pawn. Otherwise, just make some space for a king. You know, just push a pawn in front of the king. No, Aman's going for the kill. I think the Magnus setup is giving him a boost, and there we go. Wins on time. Moves to 2 points. Look at Aman's rating. We love to see that.
Oh, and 2 points out for him. Then he'll start playing against some of these top guys eventually. Seems like the Magnus room is doing wonders for him so far. And we can also see some other surprising results. We see that Duda, who has done very well in Title Tuesdays previously, he does already draw now in the second round. And we get less and less players that of the favorites in the top spots. But Hikaru, Nepomniachtchi, Arjun Erigaisi, Sevian, Caruana, a lot of the top guys, they are delivering as we expect them to do in these first rounds. So, and it's pretty intense. It's very like, if you finish your game right now, you'll only have like a couple of seconds to reset before the next round.
Yeah, with the time control change with no more increment, you know the games will end approximately 10 minutes. So a lot of games you finish and you're right back into it. That's, after a stressful game, very, very tough. But the players now at least are a bit acclimated to that format, and sometimes they prefer it because you win a game, you're in the zone, you don't even want to wait 5 minutes for the next game. At the same time, when a player loses, you have a bad game, you also want to play right away. You don't want to sit there and think too much about how badly or how much you messed up the position. I think that this faster pace is generally very well received.
I heard that Hikaru was suggesting for the Speed Chess Championship that the players should be able to call their own timeouts, because it would be interesting to see, when do they use that? Do they use that when you've lost 3 games in a row and you're like, I need to just get away from the chessboard for a moment? Or are you saying, like, as you are mentioning, that when you've lost many games, you just want to play another one and you just want to get confidence and get back on track? So that would have been very interesting to see if the players themselves could decide, now I need a break.
I agree with that idea. I think I even mentioned it on the broadcast. Like, timeouts would be added strategy. Let's give 2 timeouts in a match or something. It's like, when do you use it? There was a lot of opportunities in a one-on-one match to take it because it's so psychological. It's different than playing an open tournament where you have different opponents. When you play one opponent, you kind of know what you're expecting. You've played them for an hour. There's certainly moments there where it's like, let me reset. Let me think about how to change the openings up, or just like relax myself. And you'll see different approaches. And I think that might give the fans just another angle to appreciate.
Yeah. And round 3 has started, but we're having some technical difficulties again. But what I do hear is that Sam Sevian, who here we see is in 7th place currently and has done very well in Title Tuesday, he's playing against Aman. So that's going to be an exciting game to follow. And Sam, he's very often doing well in Title Tuesdays. So that's going to be Aman's toughest opponent yet.
Definitely. He's usually around 3,200 if I remember. Yeah, and he's very quick and sharp. So that's a bit of a style clash versus Aman. And so I think some of Aman's chances might be if Sam's going to play somewhat aggressive, pose some problems there. And if Aman has enough time or is able to calculate the position out. Because Sevian is really, really fast. I mean, out of all the players I've played, even in the best bullet players, I noticed his speed was pretty significant. And he goes for sharp positions. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to play my opening setup and play easy moves. He's playing fast and very provocative chess.
And he's played the Sicilian here? Is that what's going on?
London. I think this is a London. Aman's playing the London, working on a course in the London. So this is his pet opening a little bit right now.
Okay.
And but he is behind on the clock. We see this early queen maneuver by black. And you kind of have to pay attention. Can that queen come down and snatch that pawn, or is it too risky? And that's kind of what Sevian's thinking about. Aman is, well, I actually don't know what he's thinking about, because I really think if he's playing against Sevian, he has to play quick. Time trouble, it's going to be, I actually think it'll be really bad to get in time trouble against this particular opponent. So when you're in time trouble against Sevian, he waits for that, and then the position gets really chaotic, and it's a serious level of stress.
But he has gotten a pretty good opening, though. So by following his knowledge,
this is his course. Yeah,
he's got a good position. It's a good commercial for him.
Exactly, because it's if you look at the position, your pieces are developed. The white bishops have comfortable diagonals as long as there's no loose pawns. Look at white's bishops and kind of compare them to black's bishops. Right? And the two bishops that black has, they're not at their maximum yet. And it's going to take some time to figure out how to deploy them. Aman's bishop's on, the London bishop right here. It's a nice diagonal. And even the pawn structure we see here, the rook defends the base of the pawns. It's all very, it's a very solid position, but certainly favoring Aman.
Yeah.
Just the clock is my main issue. And Aman, if you asked him before the tournament, he would probably admit time trouble is something he can be addicted to.
Oh, no. He's almost down to half the time.
And it's not a position where you need to be down half the time because there's not a lot of tension in the position yet.
But he told us earlier that he hasn't played a lot of 5-minute games.
No, he's rusty in this. First 2 games, hopefully, were a good warm-up. This last move, jumping the knight in. Yes, black can exchange, but then white's bishop gets a nice diagonal there. And the other thing is there's a bit of a weak pawn for Sevian. It's whether Aman can gain access to it. That's this pawn right here. Because the adjacent pawns are both pushed forward. The e6 pawn is a bit weak. Aman's looking to find a way to open up the file here and gain access to the weakness.
Yeah. But he's talking a lot.
He's talking too much, maybe. Not in a bad way, because once you're used to streaming like we are, sometimes you almost prioritize talking and you have to reset and realize, wait, I'm in a competitive tournament.
Wow. And he's down to only a minute left.
But that's why the queen trade. Aman likes to trade queens, and it's easier to play quickly for him when the queens are off. He does like the end games.
Okay.
So this is not as much of an advantage anymore, but it's also easier for him to catch up on the clock. Bit of a practical decision. If I'm playing in Sevian's shoes here, he's looking at some point maybe to expand on the queen side or on the king side. Some aggressive pawn push, but white doesn't really have weaknesses, so you have to be a little careful as black that you don't overplay your cards. Really, time is the main issue. Aman simply has to start moving at about a clip, 1 second a move, or even quicker than that.
Yeah, and he's thinking too much. I mean, it's also normal that you kind of get into this like
gotta
perfectionist mindset when you're playing against one of the top players in the world, and you're like, I really want to show that my opening is good.
Yep.
And now he's spending so much time.
He wants to bring his knight into the game so he can pre-move a bit more easily here with that knight. Look for this other idea. If you push this pawn up, and that's why Sevian played that move, because Aman was looking to lock out that bishop. Now, Rick, this move, I think he's just playing, he just realizes the time situation. I don't think this move does a lot. You don't need to do a lot.
And maybe if he just keeps all of his pieces on white squares, then they'll...
That's right. And he's looking to maybe walk his king even to the queen side and then defend things.
Yeah, but then he's got to pick up his pace.
Problem is he can't walk his king over here because there's a pin. Aman's got to move. He can't, no, this is just, he's going to get flagged. Sevian is, as I said, like, this guy will keep the pressure on the clock. This position's somewhat closed. Black's looking to find a pawn push somewhere, but it's up to Aman to, he has to come up with a plan of like 4 or 5 moves, a sequence, something where he's not thinking every step of the way. Here you go. Black moved the rook out of the way, which might have been a mistake. It allows Aman to walk his king over.
He can't allow back and forth. Nope, Sevian decides to do something else.
Aman's now decided, I'm going to move my king back and forth. It's up to Black to figure out how to break through. And the problem for Black is if you push this pawn on the queen side, you weaken the a5, the last queen side pawn.
Oh, and he's making a lot of quick moves.
But 26 seconds, it's like, even though Aman's catching up, he won't catch up entirely. Really needs some speed here.
Yeah. And I guess it's very easy for Sevian here as well to just keep...
Trades off that good knight. And now Sevian saying, I'm going to flag you with rooks on the board, not by position, just by the clock. Because Aman has to trade everything off here. And based on his body language, he already is quite concerned about that possibility. He can move. Okay, if Aman can move his rook up a little bit, block the pawn, and then there we go. There you go. Aman's going to pick up that pawn. 13 seconds. He's winning a pawn here. He's in a winning position. He's got to show off his speed. Get the rooks coordinated on the 7th or on the 6th rank. Aman's up a pawn here. 10 seconds.
Wow.
10 seconds here. He can give it. He's up 2 pawns now. I'm just so concerned about the time here.
Yeah.
He needs to find a checkmate or a perpetual. Can Sevian find place for his king? Here we go.
Oh, when he's up the 2
4
pawns.
4 seconds. 4 seconds. He's got a pre-move. 4 seconds.
Can he get a draw at least?
It's going to be tough. He has to trade the rooks off. Find a way to trade the rooks off. 2 seconds.
Oh my gosh, he's making moves so quick.
Oh.
He's making
Just
quick moves.
no time. You have to trade the rooks off. You got to gamble. No, and he knows it.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Wow. Well, a sad loss for Aman there. And let's see the final seconds of Faustino Oro, the Messi of chess. He's going to win his game on time. And
there's a new queen coming up.
Looks to be very strong today with a perfect 3 out of 3 so far. Faustino seems like he has the confidence in place.
Definitely. I watched when he came by. I mean, look at his ratings, 3,200, and he's just only getting stronger. It's scary to imagine in like 2-3 years, like, is he going to be 3,500 at his current like rate of growth? He started playing chess like COVID. Like, that's crazy. I mean, these young players, they really have no fear, and his nerves are very strong.
And look, Hikaru has lost his game as well. There's upsets in all kinds of directions today. So we no longer have Hikaru in the top spot here. Wesley So has lost a game. Duda has dropped half a point. I mean, who is going to be the winner of this week's Title Tuesday when there's no Magnus? Hikaru's not perfectly in shape. It seems wide open, the field right now. And it could be a very good opportunity for some of these players who are perhaps outside of those top spots on the Champions Chess Tour leaderboards to catch up some points. Among them, Maxime Bachir-Legrave, I can't see him here on our screen right now. And I know Alexei Sarana, he was also very close to being in those top spots. They really need to use this opportunity. We can see Serrana, he is still has a perfect 3 out of 3. And we jump into the game of the guy who just beat Hikaru Nakamura, Nguyen, against the Messi of chess. 2 young guys. Who is going to win? Or maybe not 2 young guys.
I think he's about 34, 35.
Oh, okay.
He's part of the strong Vietnamese generation with Le Quang Lim as well. They're both prodigies. And so they've been around for a long time and can beat anyone on a good day. The good thing, like Hikaru lost, but he knows this field because Magnus isn't playing and there's a lot of strong players. Also means there's a better chance to come back because you kind of hope the guys at the top kind of beat up on each other. You know, it's how many players are really capable of scoring 10 points out of 11, 10 and a half where you can't catch up. 1 loss, you can afford 1 loss. More than that, that's a bit tricky.
And Faustino, he has been playing very quickly so far in this game. He knows how important the clock is. He's making all of his moves immediately. Always has a time advantage in the beginning, it feels like.
Yeah, he's playing a pretty safe opening. It doesn't have the best reputation in classical, but in blitz, it's very effective. You can play quickly. You give white a little bit of the center here, but you've counterplay, space for your pieces. And part of the reason I like playing it is that white at some point needs to figure out how to use that space advantage and push through. And that takes a lot of time and energy. And usually when it happens, it also opens up some tactical ideas. So with space comes responsibility. And white has these nice looking pawns in the center. But if they can't harass black's pieces, then it's definitely okay for black. So let's see how this space advantage is pushed here.
I can see that a lot of the people who are following this broadcast, they're rooting for Faustino. He's become a crowd favorite that many players are rooting for. And he seems concentrated. This is his first think of the game, really, where he's spending some time now. I'm eager to see how many rounds in a row will it go before he starts facing the very, very top guys. But for now, it looks like Nguyen has a bit of an advantage getting out of the opening now.
Yeah, it's just the space advantage. And at some point, if white doesn't make any mistakes, Faustino's going to have to think, do I push my pawn up? How do I fight back and grab some space or contest the position? Because it can feel pretty cramped pretty quickly. This bishop doesn't know where to go. You'd like to move your knight as black too. This knight on the king side because you want to open up your fianchettoed bishop. But because there's lack of space, we see some problems. And honestly, white's doing very well here. Even this exchange, this changes the structure. Black's pawn captured away from the center. White has an extra pawn on the king side because of those double pawns. I see some opportunities to gain some space.
Look at Faustino's reactions. He seems very upset with the recent developments.
He's a young, sharp player, and this position is static and passive.
Yeah.
It's not suiting the style. There's no challenges in the position. There's no tactics. Right now, white's just enjoying a very comfortable space advantage and look to see maybe the king side expand, uses, or what we see right now. Win is saying, I'm going to trade off into an endgame because you have double pawns, and those double pawns aren't beneficial.
And Faustino does not look very happy with
He doesn't, but
development.
he's staying up on the clock, which is really important when you're not comfortable with your position. If you can, avoid falling behind, that really makes things easier. Because when there's no increment, at some point your opponent will stop playing really well. Like, that's a nice thing. When there's increment or long time control, people will play well, super well. It's like, feels like you're playing a computer. But once that clock, goes under a minute, and here we go, that's a big move. Trying to open up the rook. There could be some pinning ideas. It's also key. It opens up this bishop. And here we go. This pawn will push. And here comes the avalanche. And that comes without center. From the very opening, Faustino gave up the center. It was a bit of a risky choice. And the way white's handled it has netted
and look at his
him a
disappointment.
piece.
He seems absolutely
He's looking to
crushed.
sack the queen. Yes, a queen sacrifice. What that means is queen for a rook. But black would like to install this bishop right over here, making white's king feel a little weak, and that's maybe a practical decision. And I like it. It is a lost position, but with best play. And when you put the bishop here, I think white's job is to try to get rid of it, because that's the best piece. The best piece for Faustino is this dark squared bishop. That's the one thing white doesn't have. But honestly speaking, a queen for just a rook, this should be a win for white, 9.5 out of 10 times, pretty easily.
And that's what makes it so exciting as well, that they don't have increment, because then there's always
there
a
is
little
flagging
hope.
chances, and if it was a time scramble, I think I've played with Win. He's around 3,000 bullets, so a very good bullet player. But you're right. This is a time scramble, blunders, things will happen. What do you do as black? Keep the pieces on the board. When you're behind in material, don't trade. So look for Faustino to maneuver his bishops in a way that you can't force them off. To keep the rook, notice the pieces, they're on dark squares. Black's pieces are on dark squares, so they don't get picked off by white's light squared bishop. Just trying to be a pest and trying to maintain a 30 to 40 second time advantage. Put the pressure on. When you're behind, sometimes the best strategy, let your opponent try to find the conversion. Problem is, here comes the queen. At some point, that queen versus rook advantage will be felt.
And there is
Targeting this loose pawn on the queen side.
there's quite a bit of time left in this game, and I would say
Queen is activating.
reading Faustino's body language, it doesn't seem like he's very hopeful that he's going to be able to swindle himself through this. And he's shaking his head so slightly.
But it's the type of tournament, it is high stakes at the end of the day, and there's no point in resigning. Because as you resign, you have to wait for the next round anyways,
Yeah.
and there's a break. It's
Yeah.
like, let me try my best. Who knows?
And miracles do happen in Title Tuesday. Like we've seen a couple of weeks ago, Magnus blundering made in two. Like suddenly there can be some quick turn of events. And Faustino, he's still trying.
Activated his rook. Oh, now the queen's looking to penetrate on the 7th.
Oh.
And that's going to be... It's not quite checkmate. We'll see how this concludes. But there's not even a threat from black. Everything's well defended. It's just up to white to figure out, do I want to try to trade everything off? We see this bishop move offering a trade, or look for checkmate. He's a principled player, happy with trying to trade. If I'm Faustino, I'm looking to keep that bishop on the board, but we're running out of real estate. The question is, can you slide the bishop into d3 to put pressure on this pin here?
Yeah, and look, Nguyen is shaking his head.
No, he's fine. He shook his head. I think he saw something, but there's a few different ways probably to win it. And if you want to be safe, maybe bishop g4.
Oh, but he has to figure
There's
out.
something that bothered him for sure. You're right about that.
Oh, look at Faustino. Is he getting a little bit hopeful?
He is. I don't see. There's a ghost that wins these, and I understand why, but it's a ghost. There's. You should be able to bring. Whoa! What happens if you? What is going on here? Okay. This is a nice variation, but deep calculation. He's offering to lose a knight, but there will be some discover checks here, and it's not easy to find a way to capture.
Oh, but this is more exciting than we would have thought.
For sure. You can take with the rook check, the king moves up. You take with the bishop, there's a discovery. King moves up, and there's no good check on the board. That's the problem.
Oh.
And the bishop this bishop is loose. Under 30 seconds.
Oh, and Faustino, you
He's
can see
looking
his
for
eyes.
a check. He's looking for something, but
His eyes are circling the board. He's
I
trying to hold
expect
on.
white to just move the bishop out of the way, hitting that. There we go. Exactly.
And now he maintains the queen for the rook advantage.
Still playing on though. It's under, at least it's under 30 seconds, but that's, as I said, white. He's 3,000, 3,100 in bullet. So very, very good. This is more than enough time to convert. And I expect the queen to actually, at some point, you push this pawn down the board and your queen and bishop coordinate some sort of kingside attack.
Would it have been as easy if that pawn on the left was not there?
It would still be pretty easy.
Okay.
I think, yeah. No, it's...
Yeah, it seems like Faustino,
he's put up a good fight.
He made his peace with the game a little while
ago. For sure. And sometimes playing these out, it's like good for you because you're still working on your resilience. And maybe against a lesser opponent, the way he played would have paid off. So I think, and you never know. Someone could mouse slip or, I don't know, lose internet. That's the variance that comes online. But
but look, there's very few seconds left. I mean, it wasn't that 4.1 seconds. That was closer than it needed to be.
Closer than it needed to be. Needed maybe three seconds more. But yeah, I also feel like White relaxed a little bit there. And that can happen. So that's why he played on.
And we can see that Sam Sevian, Caruana, there are several players who've actually gotten their first draw of the day in this round. And with a perfect 4 out of 4, we only have 13 players. Is there anybody you're surprised to see with this perfect score?
Looking at the names, I think that's 12 GMs and 1 IM. I think Galchenko is an international master, so that would just stand out. Although probably a highly rated one. Oh no, Terry Renato as well is IM, but he's like super, like 3,200 blitz.
Yeah, he's really good.
In terms of names, like Okobian, you see number 7 VAR. He's not as young as most of the players in the field, so good to see a veteran up there representing. He's from the 1980s, and we got players in the field born after 2000, so he's holding it together. But you see guys like Alexei Sarana, Theodoru from Greece, really, really strong. Min, Movahed. Iran is producing, feels like every 2-3 years, world-class blitz players. There's going to be more names coming from that country, and they just haven't made it to some of the elite tournaments, but they're up and coming. And
do you want to take a guess at what country is leading the country standings before I show them to you?
Iran.
The U.S.
Okay.
I think it's the 5 best players are contributing together.
Yeah. So I'm happy with my guess because for that they're number 3 at least.
Yeah. Norway, nowhere to be seen. We always struggle a bit when Magnus is not playing.
That means we have to blame Arjen.
Yeah.
Arjen's got to do a better job here. That's quite disappointing.
Canada, nowhere to be seen either.
No, we're outside of the top 20. That's for sure.
Well, the 4th round is finished, and we do have 13 players with the perfect score. And the players are going to have a break, and so are we. All right, and we are going to take a look at one of the most interesting moments of the day so far, when Hikaru was really struggling against this 15-year-old Scottish Waldhausen, who sadly managed to mess up when they were down to less than a minute on the clock, Eric.
Yeah, it's just a sharp position. The rook is pinned in the center, and he's finding a way, trying to look for a way to win that rook. Couldn't find it. I mean, just with 5 minutes on the clock, it'd be a different story. It was a very valiant effort defending. And I think Hikaru was pretty critical of his own play this game because Black definitely had some good chances. And I think, we're approaching a moment. Hikaru was going for a killer blow, bringing that knight in, sacrificing the exchange. And there's a move here. And it's certainly not easy, whichever move that is. And Frederick didn't find it. Just like, it's just but that moment there, Hikaru makes that decision because he knows his opponent likely won't find the move.
Another very, very poor game.
Even if there is. Because under 20 seconds, perfect time to play a risky move. That he didn't have to do that, but he knew very unlikely to find if there is a defense to that exchange sacrifice, and that's how you use the clock to your advantage. Is there is the sort of moment in the game where your opponent has to react immediately, and I think I can speak for the audience or myself. If we have to react immediately, we're capable of very, very bad moves.
And one player who had really good moves that we're going to be hearing from now is Aman, sitting in the other room. Can you hear us, Aman?
I can, but I think you've got the wrong guy. You said good moves?
Well, weren't you doing very well against Sam Sevian? Weren't you in a winning endgame?
Yes. But time has passed since then.
And did you just lose your game? Is that why you're being so negative?
Just being realistic, and yes, a tough loss here suffered going into the break, which is standard actually for me in Title Tuesday to really suffer in the break after a loss.
Oh, but it didn't give you any confidence at all. I mean, we were impressed by the game you had against Sevian. You got to play an opening that you liked, and it was going very well for a long time there.
Yeah, Sam's a good player, and I think I finally got the feeling of the 5-minute format just not working out so well in my favor. I needed to spend more time to play moves that were as good as his. I was really happy with the game, really happy with the opening, and happy with how it went, but ultimately, my stronger opponent was taking risks and playing in a way where he was eventually expecting the flag. So I can't fully say that the moves he was playing were the top ones. He was trying to play in a way that he would flag, which made sense.
Okay, but what can we say to you? Eric, do you have anything to say to Aman to kind of hype him up a little bit before he's going to play again in just a couple of seconds?
Well, I just caught up on his last game. He lost to one of the oldest and strongest players, about Alex Ivanov, who's around 70 years old, but used to be a very strong player in the U.S., and Aman was down on the clock that game too. I won't talk about what else happened there. So we really need some speed, because I like to see that in some ways. Not that Aman losing, but that's when Title Tuesday, we see a lot of kids playing. A 70-year-old.
Yeah, you have to go. Aman, you have to go. Go start playing your game.
70-year-old grandmaster, born in the Soviet Union, classically raised, playing Title Tuesday. That is cool to see. Aman getting checkmated is a bit rough, so I have to rub it in a bit. My words of encouragement are a different style maybe than others, but that should wake him up.
We'll see if that was of any help to him to hear that, because here he is getting ready for his next game. He is playing a Brazilian FIDE master, and let's hope we didn't take too much of his time on his first move.
He's just got to play quicker. Like, as he mentioned, a lot of the players will sacrifice quality of moves and just gain a big clock advantage.
Oh no! And we cost him some of his time. This is not good.
No. It happens anyway sometimes.
Okay.
I don't feel bad.
You don't feel bad?
No.
We cost him 30 seconds after we were just criticizing his use of time.
So when I was here last time, Magnus and I chatted during the break, and we were both lost 2 minutes. So 30 seconds. Oh no, we were talking about golf. We talked about golf, and we both were down 2 minutes when I was here. So 30 seconds. 30 seconds is okay. It's a London system. He looks relaxed, and
he's not cursing us right now, at least. This was the first time we ever tried to interview somebody in the break, and
oh, okay. I was wondering because the breaks, the time. So at home, I'm always late for my game after the break.
Okay.
You think it's 5 minutes, you have a lot of time, and it just disappears.
I also struggled when I was playing at home. If you have to go to the bathroom, if you want to get yourself a glass of water, you never have time to do that. So you're always kind of running back and forth, and you're like, okay, there's a minute until the next round. Do I have time now? Do I have time now? And then the break comes, and you're kind of sitting there, and then you realize, oh, this is the time I should be spending on these kinds of things. But it does look like he's gotten off to a good start. The time advantage that his opponent did have is being reduced, and he did have time to get a glass of water, Aman. So.
And there's a threat here. Aman wants this. I like this move. It's an interesting decision. Seeing him play the London, again, for those watching online, there's a course coming out soon, and he's worked very hard on it. But here, he wants to ruin the structure for black on the king side. Double those pawns, which not only creates double pawns, but leaves the pawn on the d file isolated. So I'm expecting to see him probably take back with the pawn. You could consider taking with the queen, but then you do have to calculate what happens if black goes pawn hunting.
Does he have time to be calculating things?
Well, that's a good point. That's a moment where he should just take back, I think, right away. Now, if he takes with the queen, that's high energy, and I'll also respect that, because it really is. Wow, Okay. Taking with the queen. He's saying, you know what? Your queen can come down and take over here, but there's a problem with it, and I want to see what it is. I love the decision. So this is paid off. Aman likes endgames. He's arguing, black has the bishop pair. I have a better pawn structure, a much better pawn structure, and I'm going to be comfortable in the endgame. And knowing his style, I agree with it. By trading off the queens, the decision-making that comes later on will be easier because there's fewer tactics, problems to solve when the queens are off the board.
But there's still a lot to be solving. And he's threatening a fork and a pawn, but his opponent can do the same. But his opponent's playing quickly, and he covers the fork.
So I do think black's doing okay, but I know that Aman likes these positions, and oftentimes you play better in positions you like. And yes, black does have the bishop pair, and I think if you play it properly, at some moment, the main piece you're worried about as white is this bishop, this dark squared bishop, finding a diagonal, finding life. But we're still a few moves away from that.
But he's still a minute down on the clock, and I feel so much responsibility.
You feel bad? No, don't. It's okay.
I do feel bad.
I don't.
You don't feel bad. That's clear.
Well, he's getting. It's okay. We'll see some speed. One thing about Aman, or even myself, sometimes you get addicted to time trouble, which means no matter what happens, you find your way like under a minute, and then he's really fast with the mouse, and that will actually be exciting. If we can see him like win a game with like 20 seconds versus 2 minutes, like it's selfish, but I'd like to see that, because when he wins when he's low on time, there's some adrenaline going on, and that can be fun.
But we did try to remind him of the fact that he did have a winning position against Sam Sevian in the final stages of that game, but the clock was the deciding factor, and I'm worried that that's going to become a thing here. It's very difficult without the increment.
Aman's bringing the knight in the game. D5 is an isolated pawn. He's going to get 3 attackers on it. Black's going to have to be passive, probably shift the rook over. The play is getting easier for Aman. The clock will start to even out. Move your king over. King to the beat. There we go. Let's go. Easy moves. Black has the bishop pair. The bishop pair needs to breathe, needs open lines. Look at this last move. This bishop's not breathing. That's a pawn. This is getting better and better for Aman. That bishop is blocked by own pawns on the F and the D file, and Aman can treat this like a closed position, and knights are better in closed positions. This bishop pair cannot breathe. Look at the speed now. Aman looks happier. Don't feel bad. His knight's looking at some squares.
Oh, wow. And he looks very comfortable.
Looking over here. You can't defend D5. The rook does not have the same square to use anymore. So the question is, do you try to take that pawn, or do you reinforce your position next move before recapturing? I think Aman is doing very, very well here.
Yeah, and he knows it.
He knows it. They're a little stretch, but just black's position. The bishops are not active, and this is what we're talking about. That pawn structure. These doubled pawns just hinder the position.
Yeah, okay. He does grab the pawn, so now he's a pawn up, but he's a minute down.
Yeah.
On the clock.
Aman's played some bullet recently. Both of us have. We have some bad habits. We like bullet or hyper bullet. Here, there's a big reason why this pawn is so important. White's up a pawn, but 2 extra pawns on the queen side, since black has double pawns. When you have 2 extra pawns, there's potential for connected pass pawns, which is one of the easiest ways to convert an advantage. And when you have 4 on 2, start pushing them.
Should he trade the rooks?
Absolutely. Trade, no problem. Bring the king in. Aman is ecstatic. There's no tactics here. Black's bishop is good there, but there's no way to remove Aman's knight in the center. If you can't remove that knight, you won't gain access to this. And so look, that was a good play. He's going to have to respect that. Shift the king over. Creative.
Yeah, and he's spending some time. I'm still worried about his clock.
Should not be spending time there, but that's okay. A5, fixing the queenside pawns. Aman's eventually, slowly but surely. Problem for black is running out of moves. You never want to push this pawn and block your bishop, but there's no more pawns to push. What does Aman need to do? Find a way to defend all the loose pawns and probably move this knight out.
And then start pushing this past pawn.
Okay, I'm on your side.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah.
I'm so stressed about him having 27 seconds left.
I'm stressed as well, but it can make for a good show depending on your perspective.
Okay.
The pawns are pushing, though. The pawns are pushing. Move the king out of the way. Move the king out of the way. Anywhere. That works. And now the d-pawn's pushing. The d-pawn's pushing. Push the d-pawn. There we go. And here comes the rook. Very good technique.
18 seconds.
But Aman's rook is sliding down to the 7th very soon. Look at how nicely those pawns push. You can trade. You don't have to. There's an idea here to sacrifice. Okay. 12 seconds.
Goodness.
Okay, Aman does need some speed now.
Yeah.
I legitimately
and he steps into a fork. No, that wasn't a fork.
No.
The bishop would have taken it. See.
The bishop has to take, pretty much. And now black's going to be annoying with the rook. 10 seconds versus a minute. This is Aman's favorite situation to be in. 10 seconds versus a minute. If you take that pawn, Aman's going to slide the rook over to the e-file. So black's trying to find tricky moves here. And Aman's sacrificing. Look at that. Connected pass pawns. He's sacrificing. The pawns are pushing. This could be thematic. Black has to recapture. You don't have to, but you're still getting connected pass pawns. Speed, very much required here. And there's the push. And now the rook will slide over. Aman's rook is sliding over.
But he only has 3 seconds. 3.7 seconds.
Push the d-pawn. Push the d-pawn here.
He needs to do some pre-moves.
He's pre-moving, yeah. Here's one pre-move. Let's get a second pre-move. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Push.
Oh, no. The pre-moves. But maybe he has time to take all the pawns?
No.
No. Oh, man. The clock there, that was...
See, this is the problem. I wasn't worried. You were worried. You're right. But Aman and I both have time trouble issues.
But do you think he's going to blame us for taking the first 30 seconds of his game for an interview?
Blame you. Because you're interviewing him. You'll be blamed.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Well, I guess we won't be hearing from him more today. No, I'm kidding. But there's still some games going on here in the 5th round. We can see that there's only 5 players at the moment who have the perfect score. Jeffrey Zhang, Sina Movahed, Renato Terry. We've been talking about Serrana, who's one of the people who needs the points the most on the scoreboard to qualify for the Esports World Cup, and Tsiripov. So there's quite a lot of new names, a lot of guys who haven't won the Title Tuesday tournament since they made the change to remove the increment.
Yeah, and Serrana has he won one yet?
Yes, he won in the autumn split.
Yeah, I've been playing Jeffrey Zhang quite a bit. He's been playing, I think, every week, and he's a player that has been a super grandmaster, highly rated, took a bit of a break, it seemed like, and it seems like this year he's really focused on trying to qualify. So that's a name that I'm looking out for, because he definitely has the class to win these events.
And we see that Renato Terry and Jeffrey Zhang, they are 2 of the players with the perfect score, and they are facing off in the 6th round. Renato Terry, who is amazingly, sensationally just an IM.
Yeah, I mean, it's some countries, they don't have as many tournaments where you can try to play for the Grandmaster title. And then there's other situations where you really do have maybe a level difference where you're significantly stronger in Blitz and Rapid, and he's a strong classical player, but clearly his forte where, he can compete with the best guys. It's these Blitz events.
He's playing very, very quickly, as always.
As always, he has his openings, his setup. He's really solid, takes advantage of little mistakes, and just frustrating to deal with. A frustrating style. Doesn't give you much.
And it's also going to be interesting to see what kind of level of ambition these players have now that they do have a perfect score. If they're still kind of obsessed with that, or if a draw is more likely, like how focused are they on the fact that they have a perfect 5 out of 5 so far. We've only seen Magnus win the tournament with a perfect 11 out of 11, but today is a very good opportunity considering the fact that so many of the favorites have kind of dropped off. And maybe one of these 2 guys can go the whole tournament without losing.
Yeah, I don't think they're thinking too much about the score because pretty much when you start out 4 to 4, 5 to 5, whether you win, lose, or draw, you're playing extremely strong players for the rest of the event. I've had situations where I lose and I play someone higher rated. There's the chasing pack. There's guys with 4.5 right now, players with 4.5, like a Hikaru that, are catching up. So the pairings don't get any easier. You're just trying to maximize your score. The one thing for sure, though, is you don't need to take unnecessary risk. It's a good start, and consistency is pretty big, especially when not just on an individual week, your points add up for the split. And so having a good high average will put you ahead of many players.
And I'm getting some news that Sina Movahed, who had a perfect 5 out of 5, was not paired for the 6th round, likely due to some internet or connection issues. That's heartbreaking and so sad for him, who was in the lead.
I've played lots of Title Tuesdays. I've been close to winning it, but I can't say I have an excuse that I've been disconnected. Like you never want to see that. You never want to see someone out of the running because of something like that. I mean, this is such a big opportunity for a lot of the players, this potential EWC qualification or SEC. And Sina's a really, really, really strong player. I expect him to be much more of a household name in a year.
I feel like he's already become somewhat of a household name just because his name is so iconic for playing chess. Sina Movahed. Like that is just fate right there. But really heartbreaking that he was not paired for the 6th round. But that does give these guys an opportunity to climb even further ahead if they can win. Who would you say has shown the most ambition in this game so far?
It was an exchange French. So generally people make fun of the exchange French. If you're playing the exchange French, which I've done before, that can't be associated with ambition. Even if there's a couple of good lines, no, the French has many rich positions that come from it. And this isn't one of them. It's a bit more symmetrical. The main difference is white has the bishop pair and the double G pawns. So I'd say Jeffrey, just by playing the French, would be the more ambitious player.
And I also feel like the French had a bad reputation, and everyone was so surprised to see it be played in the World Championship match where Ding actually used that opening. And then I feel like it's gained a lot of popularity. Do you think that the World Championship matches affect kind of trickle down into the other openings of other players?
Definitely, it does influence it. I mean, so much is published on those games, so many people are looking for inspiration. Fabiano's also played the French, and Amana and I are French players. That's what we grew up playing, and even played it to a fairly decent level. So even if we don't play it as much anymore, our background, we have that French opening experience. It's a love-hate relationship, but happy to see it featured a little bit more.
And how important is this extra 45 seconds that Terry has right now on the clock?
Terry's generally always up on the clock, so I'd say important because it's a huge key to his success. I'd say what's more important, though, is the position is opening up a little bit. And as white, you'd love to eventually decide to be ambitious, push the c-pawn up, because the bishop pair gets stronger when the position opens up. You'd love to induce an exchange on the c-file and have some potential to push in the center, open up this dark squared bishop. In the meantime, he's not playing that yet. He has plenty of time to do that, plenty of time on the clock. Love to find a way to create some weaknesses. That's why he brought the queen over to the f-file. Yeah, Terry's a very good practical player. Knight moving in, that gets rid of the bishop pair. So that is an accomplishment for Jeff. And now I feel pretty okay with black's position. The time advantage is...
Yeah, it's disappeared.
Yeah. Oh, MVL lost round 1 and has won 5 in a row. So that's very good. He's going to need a bigger score than some other players potentially because...
Tie breaks. Yeah, the tie-break system, we've discussed it many times here, that the fact that the players can kind of drop out after a couple of rounds if they don't feel like it's going well, it's affecting the tie-breaks quite a bit. And you don't really want to be completely dependent on the tie-breaks. You'd rather control your own fate, but at least...
That's a cool trick here. If you take the knight, the other knight slides in, forks the king and the queen. But unfortunately, it's not forced. But what Zhang is doing here is looking to trade off the queens. Sorry to interrupt. That was just a moment there where
no,
could have been a
always
blunder.
interrupt for the chess. But it was a very cool trick, but kind of sad that it didn't amount to much more than that.
No.
And the left side of the board has been locked down. How is anyone going to make any progress here?
Well, white will struggle to make progress here because you look at your bishop and you're kind of, stuck behind your own pawns. You can try to open things up. I think this is just very, it is just very equal. Equal doesn't always mean a draw in chess and in 5-0 chess and Title Tuesday chess. It certainly doesn't, because the players decide to both be ambitious and they play on. There's a good chance someone's flag will fall.
Yeah.
So we'll see how ambitious the players are in the next, I'd say, 30 seconds. The one idea you might have as white is to reroute your knight around the board and to find a square that attacks the weakest pawn in black's position, that B pawn.
And I also feel like it's a huge advantage to have like a kind of a many move plan, because then you can just kind of do so many moves, and it's kind of like playing hot potato where you're just throwing the move to the other opponent and they have to spend time while they're trying to come up with something. And we do see Terry, he has gotten the knight there.
He has, but now his bishop's stuck because Jeffrey locked up the king side, so there's no way to attack this knight, which means Jeff has done a good job of defending that and is looking to maybe bring his own knight to the edge of the board.
Oh, so now it's like a dance of the knights.
But if there's
defend the different pieces in time.
Jeffrey's up on time here. He's got knights. Knights are trickier than bishops, typically in time scrambles. The thing is, the position's locked down, so 50 moves would lead to a draw. So at some point, if 50 moves, one side, if they want to play for a win, well, they can't push a pawn. They'll have to sacrifice a piece or something. The evaluation isn't changing, but sometimes you see the players maneuver like this. They'll burn 30, 40 moves, which could equate to 30, 40 seconds. Then with 10 seconds on the clock, they're confident in their time scramble abilities.
Oh, but it's a draw.
They've repeated. That's fine for their tournament, yeah. It's not a do or die situation.
Let's jump into Hikaru's game, where he has 4 points against Svalna with 4.5. And Hikaru, he needs to catch up to the field. It's important for him to win. He does have a pawn on the rush to the other side, but so does Svalna. What do you make of this situation?
Clock is the biggest factor. They both have really advanced pawns. I'd say the one thing that helps Hikaru is his pawn is queen's in the color of his bishop. So the dark squared bishop does double duty. It stops black from queening the c pawn. Oh, there we go. That's what it ended up being. That dark squared bishop determined the position. Just covered the queening square. Hikaru has a dark square blockade. And now time is even. No chance.
Hikaru looking very confident now after his one loss. He is striking back and will catch up to quite a lot of the top players if he gets to 5 points. Still some seconds left. Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be a mate here.
And Hikaru.
Terrible game. Have I actually had a single good game this tournament? I don't think I've had a single good game this entire tournament.
And despite that, he now has 5 out of 6 points, should be somewhere close to the lead. We see him in 9th place, and there's only one player with a perfect score. What do you know about Siripov?
I don't know almost anything about Siripov besides the name and playing a little bit online. I think he's part of this younger generation from Russia, and because of geopolitics, it's hard to keep track, and there's been a lack of let's say events in some areas because I think that's part of the reason why there aren't as many tournaments there.
And let's see him here, Siripov. He does have a rating of 3,158, so clearly a very strong player playing against his countrymen, Jan Nepomniachtchi, who has played in the World Championship matches, and Sudipov, he's playing the Sicilian Opening in Najdorf. He is playing ambitiously here. He's trying to win.
Yeah, I've tried what Jan is doing here. You just push the pawns on the king side. You're still castling queen side, and you're avoiding maybe some dragon theory or playing a bit of a sideline. It's a bit more known these days, and especially with Rapid and Blitz, players are opting for sidelines against the Sicilian a bit more often. So based on the speed, feels like Sudipov is a bit familiar with this. But I generally like White's position. You avoid some dragon theory, but you still get to queenside castle and push the H-pawn eventually.
Eventually.
Simon was here. He'd be very happy with Harry the H-pawn.
Yeah. Well, Sudipov looks very concentrated and does have a bit of a time advantage. It's very rare that I see someone have more time on the clock than Nepomniachtchi, and now threatening a fork on the knight.
Potentially, you might. Yeah. Now there's definitely a rook hanging.
This is just chaos.
This just looks good for White because worst case is you queenside castle as White, and you probably feel safe. Where's Black castling? Maybe the rook even slides down. Even the rook here is threatening, checkmate.
Wow.
Right? Like, it's something looks off here. That's what I can say. Trying to figure out what it is. Sliding the rook in looks very natural to me.
And good news that Sina Movahed, he is back playing in round 7 after missing round 8. Ooh, and a kind of cool way of...
It's a cool way, but why not the rook? See, I'm figuring that out. Is it still good for... Is he playing b4? Yes, b4. You were talking about a fork.
Oh, no.
The idea is after the bishop takes... Black has ideas too, though.
Yeah, I see that now.
Black's queen is swinging over to centralize and pin the knight. So... Did Jan miss something in this variation? This was his idea.
Yeah.
Move the queen out of the way and fork, but look for Black's queen to centralize and pin that knight. And I think a deep think is required here. Now,
it's not too late, you think?
For which?
For Nepomniachtchi now, when he's struck with this knight move, it looks like a lot of pieces are hanging.
Well, he can always just win the knight and lose a knight, and then it's still even. So he's looking for the best variation possible. Ideally, when you win a knight, stay up a knight.
Yeah.
And that's what he's stuck on. But I think this is a good find for Black. And you don't see it too often when Jan goes for tactics and calculation. He's very, very sharp. But his opponent saw it right away because look at the move. It was played instantly. And the queen centralizes. So this is just Jan being ambitious. I understand why. But being out-calculated by his younger opponent here. And there's no way to avoid losing that knight unless you want to give up a rook. And White's only up a knight temporarily, so a rook would be a bit too much, especially because we don't see an attack for Jan. There's no more...
Yeah.
The queen is actually out of the game over here.
Yeah, and also he couldn't castle alongside anymore in good faith. So now his king is also a lot more stressed in the middle of the board.
There's another pawn loose now. Black can decide to take that pawn. I think it's safe. And now, minute and a half extra. That move does look very strange to me. Because wait. A blunder.
Oh no.
A blunder. Wow. The bishop is sliding in. I missed that. Jan missed that.
Sudipov did not miss it.
And now the rook is hanging. So White will lose that rook after Black sacrificed. And so now Sudipov's up a pawn, up 2 pawns now. And again, no counterplay.
Wow.
Because Black's king is safe. Maybe even bring your king out so you can swing your rook over this way. And he's played it. This is a marvelous game. I mean, the tactics have been very impressive. You asked me what I knew about the player. Not too much, but this is a very good impression right now.
And he's taking time to defend his pawns. He has up on time. He has a lot of time.
Everything is good for White here.
Wow.
The issue is White's king is also not safe. So White can't even just go all in and try to attack because the king is constantly being harassed.
Wow. Very impressive.
Potentially a queen trade. Okay, that stops it. I don't like this last maneuver because Jan is now threatening this. Black has played a couple funny moves. Now has to pivot, try to trade the queens.
And we do see a check on the king that has to be dealt with.
You're deciding if you move your king over or you block with the pawn. I think I would move my king over, but I'm also a little worried about maybe the queen sliding in here. I think that's the concern. So I would definitely invest some time as black to calculate, because Jan wants to keep the queens on the board. You're down 2 pawns, so you're not really looking to trade into a lost endgame.
But he's spending his time now. He's trying to be precise. He knows that victory is just around the corner. He does have a lot better of position. He's leading with 2 pawns now, and he just needs to not mess up in these final moments. But he spent more than a minute on this move.
Yeah, the queen is coming in, and that's a bit annoying. That queen, black has a check later on, but white's able to block. So it's definitely this queen maneuver, I think, that's really bothering Sidipov. And it might be one of those weird moves like king here to meet this with that. But then there's rook here. See, Jan plays the queen maneuver, and maybe he's willing to just give up those pawns. Or is there a check? Like, this is very sharp. And this is where Jan thrives. He's down a minute and a half, down 2 pawns, all of a sudden up on the clock, and things are looking loose. This is what I calculated. I said, looked like white was gaining some ground. That's 1 pawn.
Oh, wow. And
now g6, the g pawn, everything is getting loose. Wait. There should be a check from behind. Maybe bring the bishop and then check here. Because black can sacrifice all the pawns and go for broke here. I'm really thinking about this and some sort of check. Pin the bishop, give a check, or give a check first. Look for black to bring the queen in. I don't think that was the right one.
Oh, wow. And it's evening out, and he has way less time now, Sidipov. You can see the frustration in his eyes. He's still trying to set up some kind of checkmate, but now...
Jan is using these pawns to shelter the king and black's pieces. Okay. It's still very hard to play for white, but the time advantage.
Yeah, the time advantage.
Sidipov is down, losing momentum here, losing checks. You can give a couple checks. But the king is walking. Is the king walking? Oh, no, you can't walk the king too far because the bishop will check.
So he needs to go somewhere else.
This is instructional. Jan is walking the king back in a way to avoid a perpetual.
Oh,
but he might expose himself. He just what is going on here? Check. Is the king walk successful? You can check again. And now Jan is ready to king walk, I think.
And look at him.
Might
He's realized it. He looks very confident right now.
Oh, you can just snap the pawn off. There's a few different ways to play this. Take the pawn with check. Yeah. That's a huge comeback.
Wow.
Those are so stressful because you feel like you're winning as black, and you probably was, but the king starts to escape, you start second guessing yourself. Now just give up the queen. Trade it off, and that's it. And Sidipov's got to be unhappy. He was probably completely winning. He made one passive move, and that's Jan's strength. Had the initiative, started playing quickly, and from being down a minute and a half to look at this.
We no longer have anyone with a perfect score. Sidipov goes down against Nepomniachtchi. I did see that there are just a couple seconds left here for Sindarov, who manages to win just as we jump into this game and beats Artemiev, who's also done very well in Titled Tuesday. Sindarov having a really good success on the chessboard lately. He's made it to the candidates tournament. He's going to be playing the freestyle tournament now this weekend, the freestyle world championship, as we should call it. And he hasn't won Title Tuesday yet, but he's one of the contenders that could do it.
For sure. I mean, he's just established himself as a top player along with Abdusattorov, this Uzbek golden generation. I think that loss, though, for Sidipov opened up the tournament. Good for us because we don't know, so many different players who can win. There's another. I see MVL on 6 points. Yesipienko.
Move ahead has a perfect 6 out of 6.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, 6 out of 6 with a disconnect or something.
The poor guy.
And I don't know this other Iranian player at 6 out of 7, Yega Negi. And now that is just a new name to me.
That's what's fun about Title Tuesdays, since there's sometimes upwards of 400 players with titles. So there are so many of the world's best who have come to play here that you can't really know 400 players that well. And so every week I feel like we're getting to know some new people.
Look at number 20. Quang, I think, is 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
I believe that's a very young player from Vietnam, maybe the under 12 world champion. I've played him, a very up and coming talent. So, as you said, yeah, lots of players, new names all the time, but well represented here. I guess we have Uzbekistan, Faustino, 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
Tabatabai.
Very open. Could be anyone's game. And we are going to watch the game between Jan Nepomniachtchi, who just saw win against Sindarov, 2 of the best players in the world facing off on the top board here.
I'm just checking on how Aman did.
Yes, please update us.
Aman won on time by 0.6 seconds.
Whoa!
And he won earlier in 15 moves. So back-to-back wins for Aman. Yay. That's good to see. And now here we go.
Good to see. And what do you make of this opening so far?
The clock. This is an easy to play position for white. He gave up the bishop pair. Jan, earlier in the position, grabbed on this square with his own, he grabbed a knight with his bishop and placed his own knight in the center, and hopes to control the position a little bit. Here we go. This is a big decision now. White picked up a pawn on the queen side, but look at this response by Sindarov with the move, pushing that c pawn, attacking the knight. And what black might do in the future is take on b3, doubling the pawns, and then take on d5, and white would have 2 sets of double pawns, be up a pawn, but have 2 sets of double pawns. So there's compensation here. Yes, white's up a pawn, but there's bishops for black and targets. Specifically that pawn right here on the b file could be a target, and this pawn could be a target. So double-edged, I would say. You see ideas like this in the Marshall opening in chess. Black getting open position in the bishop pair. And why are we seeing this move? Black wants to argue that this b pawn can no longer push. It's fixed as a weakness. And once you fix the weakness, then you slowly apply pressure by clearing open the b file, and it's just going to be there for the rest of the game.
And there are some viewers who think that Nepomniachtchi will win the tournament, but I know also Sindarov has a lot of fans. He hasn't won Title Tuesday that many times yet, but this could be a very good opportunity, and a win here for either of them, incredibly important. And it seems like both of them are playing fighting chess.
For sure. I think I like what Jan's doing. He's found a really nice outpost in the center, and even though this move that white just played looks funny, moving the rook up, it does the job. You're defending the pawn that black's attacking with both of the rooks. And if black can't win that pawn, you're like, oh, my rook looks funny. But black's using 2 of their own rooks to attack it, which means Jan can use his other rook on the f file, maybe push that pawn up the board. It's up to black to show compensation here. Black is down a pawn. Yes, they're double pawns, but at the end of the day, pawn is a pawn, and we see here Jan is maneuvering around with the knights, might be bringing that knight back towards this square here where it targets rerouting. Okay, he's arguing he wants the other knight in d5. Keep this square open for the knight on the e file.
It seems like we have Vincent Keimer playing against Nodirbek Abdusatorov in another game. A viewer rooting for Vincent. And it's so interesting that so many of these players choose to play Title Tuesday every single week, despite the fact that they have to be preparing for the Candidates Tournament, for the Freestyle World Championship. they're so busy and they still make time for this. Oh,
Interesting decision, sacrificing the exchange and potentially more material, but he's looking to pick up that center pawn and gain access to Black's king side.
wow. Could
This-
change character quite a bit.
It changes the character. I think both sides are doing okay, but I think this decision is a practical decision where he couldn't figure out how to make progress, and this gives better winning chances. It shows the attitude. Jan is playing for the win. That's for sure. Sindarov playing quickly, just defending that. Didn't want to grab the material yet, keeping the option open because even though Black didn't grab the material, in the future, if White ever removes the rook, all of a sudden this would be loose. Players are playing quickly now. Rook to the c-file. There's still a rook loose on the queen side. Then we have to start discussing what's better, the knight or the rook. Usually the exchange is better, but in certain positions, a knight in the center can be devastating. So Jan has now moved his rook off the board. He's allowing Black to capture this doubled pawn. However, White does have potential on the king side to open things up. So does Black. Positions open up. Maybe it favors the bishop on d6. Here we go. Queen comes in, threatening the knight invading, which would be a checkmate if not for Black's queen taking it. So there are some threats now. There's also a threat potentially of sacrificing your rook on the f-file to blast open the king and bring the other rook in.
And also, Nepomniachtchi's king is also in a little bit of trouble. It can at least be checked once. So
He wants to be checked so he can slide the king over, and then there's no more checks temporarily. Use that pawn as a shield. But this move, I really don't know what to do here because rook f7, I believe you can sacrifice the rook. That's what I've been worried about the entire time.
But did he miss the fact that he was threatening this knight move that you showed?
No. The idea here is to then play a bishop check and give up a queen for a bishop and a rook. Yes, this was expected. Here comes the king.
Oh, but what is happening?
And what's the move now? He had to give the check first. Jan was supposed to check on h7 first. I think he just played the wrong move order. He just got confused.
And now he's down a rook?
He's just down a rook, and that rook that Black has on the c-file really defends a key pawn on the g6 square.
Look at Jan's expression. He's frozen, but I think that expression...
Well, the thing is, the game isn't over. Is it losing? Yes, but until you manage to trade off those dangerous pieces for White, you can blunder back.
Wow. So he just mixed up the move order, and then now he's down a rook. But he's still trying to make some kind of checkmate possible. And Sindarov down to his final minute.
I just don't see the checkmate right now. You have a check, but you don't want to give that check unless you see a follow-up. Otherwise, it's really a spite check. He's done it because probably didn't see anything else. I mean, as White, you need to use all your pieces to try to checkmate.
And use your clock, but he's shaking his head.
Well, Sindarov's looking for a knockout blow right now. Instead, decides to trade off the queens. That's professional. And there we go. I expect this game won't last too much longer. It's worth playing on a little bit for White, but Black is up a rook for 3 pawns, but at least one of those pawns is about to fall on the a-file.
Yeah, look at Nepomniachtchi. He's shaking his head. He's quite upset. This was an important game. Sindarov will take the lead in the tournament if he manages to win this.
Another trade.
At this point, I guess Jan is just kind of in denial.
It's worth playing on a little bit for... it's not that easy for Black to pick off all the pawns. Black, you'd like to trade off the rooks.
Yeah, that would make it easier.
Being... Oh, here we go. That's a blunder. Now, yeah. I thought it was it's a bit annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. I'm realizing as soon as you start looking for what move would I make, it becomes harder.
The weakest pawn is this pawn over here, but how do you win it? White has a king and rook defending, and you have 2 rooks. Black's king is boxed out. So the strategy here is to find a way to trade off that last rook. With the rook on the board, it's actually quite annoying. And we're going to see that here.
Oh, now there's a possibility? No.
No, he's using these pawns to shelter. Jan is playing this very well from a tricky perspective. as long as you keep the rooks on the board. If I'm playing black, I would love to eventually push my d-pawn when given the chance. So find a way to push the d-pawn, which means I want to bring my rook up the board and push the d-pawn. Oh, I think you might be going for it. Not quite yet. You have to do it so you don't allow connected pass pawns, but this isn't the strategy right now. Down to 22 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Now he's preparing it. Now look at that d-pawn to push to clear open files. Push the d-pawn. Oh, wow. 19 seconds. He's got to show progress. There we go. The d-pawn's been pushed.
Oh, but he did it at a time when the pass pawns were allowed.
They're allowed, but now they get picked off. Okay. You don't have a good way to push it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now he's finally in control, but he only has 15 seconds.
So.
Will he have time?
Oh, he's got time. Yep. Yep.
Oh, look at him. Look at his reactions.
Yeah, it took him a while to find that plan. I thought Jan did a really good job of being tricky, but it was always winning.
Wow. And Sindarov, who has 12 seconds left in this final position, it looks like Jan is just letting his clock run out. But Sindarov does win.
So that was tough. Jan had a winning attack, and I think I blundered it as well. We brought the rook in. It's kind of like he knew the right setup, but the wrong move order, and maybe just that's tough. Jan had a really, really good attack there. He was playing in his style, and I feel like he just, right idea, wrong execution, where you just almost like touch the wrong piece. You get ahead of yourself. And Sindarov is continuing his just top performances, although with the current standings, you can see that even though 7.5 out of 8 is a crazy score, that's a massive score.
Yeah.
Like a 3,500 performance. You lose one game, you go from first to tied for 10th potentially, because you see that huge pack of players at 6.5, players at 7, players at 7.5. That's all it takes. All it takes is one loss, even 7.5 out of 8, beating world-class players. This tournament is so strong, so stacked. Any new names there?
Caruana's actually climbed up a bit, and we see Kamer, Sevian. There's many of the big names. They're still at arm's length. They have the ability to catch up. And of course, Zhang and Sindarov at 7.5. And now, after the 8th round, the players are going to have a short break, and we are going to sum up the action so far.
Here we go.
And we are going to take a look at one of the very intense moments from a game that really had everything, I would say. This game here, where both kings were kind of in trouble, and it was back and forth. Look at the bar swinging from left to right here, Eric.
Yeah, the pawns, like white has these pawns, and they're building a nice little fortress because black's bishop would love to find a way to check or join the attack, and just black couldn't find a checkmate, and the stress built up. The clock really makes things uncomfortable, and this like pawn wall was really effective. It was a comeback win for Nepo, and definitely a lot of regret for Sidipov when he was in clear first at the time and was on his way to a 7 out of 7 score. So this really affected the tournament standings, and definitely some regrets there on when he was chasing that king away. Sometimes you chase your opponent's king to a better square.
Yeah. And we did see Sidipov. He did get his revenge against Faustino Oro in the following match. So he's still definitely up there. We see him in 3rd place, but really a bitter loss for him. And now Sindarov, after beating Nepomniachtchi, he is in the lead with Jeffrey Zhang. And I'm wondering to see now on the country standings how it's going. It's actually the U.S. team who's taken over, and it's Iran in 2nd place. That was your guess previously. They have a lot of good players. India, Uzbekistan, Germany. These are big chess nations. Norway and Canada, nowhere to be seen today on the top 20. But
well, remember, I picked Jeffrey Zhang as a player to look out for today. So he's tied for 1st, doing very well, and so reading it well. And that very young player from Vietnam, Quang, is there. Andreikin is moving his way up. Generally, I think the top guys all want to win the tournament, and they feel like they can. And I think you need that attitude these days, even if you're like top 50 player, you expect that you have a chance to win the event. And the margin is 2 points. So after 8 rounds, if you're at 6 points, you're still very motivated. Getting to 9 points means you have a very good chance of winning a prize. You'd ideally like to obviously have 7.5 here, but all the players 6 out of 8 and above have a lot to play for and will be very, very motivated.
And one way to keep up with some of these top players is in the Take app. And I am sharing my phone right now. And as I say, top players, no offense to Sindre and Lucas, but they weren't really the ones that I was talking about. Because...
Who's that Asios guy?
Oh, yeah. And he simplifies to a forced mate. I guess we'll react. We'll give him some kudos for that one. But the player I wanted to look at the post of, and which many players, of course, follow, I think Magnus is the most followed in the app, is what he's called here Casual Evening Blitz and Bullet, played 2 days ago. And it was nothing from casual. It was, in fact, the final in the Speed Chess Championship. So this is actually his games against Ali Reza. And what I was thinking we could look at was just the fact that you could look at the different games he's played, and you can click through them and even see that towards the end of this game right here, he makes a brilliant move. And there is a coach here who actually writes different comments and annotates the game. And here, when Magnus sacrificed his rook for the knight, deflects the queen away from the defense of d3, and then there is some following lines. So that's a pretty cool thing here in the app. I'm going to give Magnus a yay reaction.
No, that's too nice.
Too nice?
Yeah.
Okay, which one do you want to use? 19 people have given him the victory reaction. Rest in peace. That doesn't make sense.
Because it's a combination.
Okay.
It's a finishing combination.
And also people have commented and congratulated Magnus on winning. Here we even see somebody who is a fan of Yagis. And yeah, it's a great app to post some banter and react to different people's games and follow along. So that is the Take app so far. And you can join the waiting list using the QR code above Eric's head. Are you in the app yet? We need to get you in the app.
Yeah.
We will do that.
I think I just started, like yesterday.
All right. Well, that's good. That sounds good. And then you can share your games, and it's a social app, and I've had a lot of fun following several of the top players there. But let's get ready for the final rounds of Title Tuesday.
Oh, that's a blunder. That's just a blunder. Discover check, picks up the queen.
And his opponent resigns.
He's winning a pawn here. He's in a winning position. He's got to show off his speed. 4 seconds.
Can he get a draw at least?
It's going to be tough. He has to trade the rooks off. Find a way to trade the rooks off.
He's making
Just
quick moves.
no time. You have to trade the rooks off. You got to gamble. No, and he knows it.
What are you going to do?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Push.
The pre-move. But maybe he has time to take all the pawns?
Nope. Nope.
Oh, and that was 2 of the games, the time scrambles we've seen from Aman so far, sadly, ones that he has lost. But now we are looking at the top 2 guys, Jeffrey Zhang versus Yakovir Sindarov, both of them with 7.5 out of 8 points, an incredibly important game. What do you read from the opening here?
Yeah, this was just the 4 knights, kind of just the main line. It was featured in an SCC game as well this past weekend. I think Yakovir brought it out. Pretty stable opening where black's supposed to be okay, but white doesn't risk too much. By the way, on the Aman watch, he won again.
Oh.
So he's won 3 in a row.
But not when we're watching him.
Not when we're watching because you made him lose.
Oh, no.
We're blaming you.
I know. I'm worried about this. I've learned something about interviewing people in breaks in the middle of a Title Tuesday tournament, which is already a very stacked format with games going back to back to back. But we'll see. I'm going to ask him later how much he holds us accountable. I'll ask us. So
Sure.
that he won't blame me single-handedly. But in this game, we have Jeffrey, who has had a very good tournament so far, and of course Sindarov, who was able to beat Nepomniachtchi, one of the favorites. They are trading off pieces.
So black has these nice looking pawns in the center, but they're also loose pawns. We call them hanging pawns because there's no pawns on adjacent files defending them. So they can be an asset, especially if there's more pieces on the board that take away some quality squares, but they can also become a weakness. And generally speaking, white has the bishop versus the knight. We've seen 3 sets of pieces traded off. That might favor white, you know, because when there's fewer pieces, those pawns may not actually take away too many squares. And for example, the decision right there, I think black is doing the one feature here, besides the hanging pawns, is black has full control over the e file. And does this bishop look very pretty on the c file bearing down? Yes. Is it a good piece? Yes. Is the queen here good? Yes. But where do you place your rooks as white? You need more than that to generate counterplay. Notice all these pawns for black are on dark squares. On one hand, the white bishop can't target it, but on the other hand, they're placed in a way that white's bishop has more scope. So even though this is what you call maybe equal, or you see the bar there, it's around that it's dynamic. There's positions where that knight can find a way in the game. The fact that black has the e file could be very useful. If white can optimize their rooks, I would like white's position more than black. And so definitely a lot to play for here. Early on, another thing you can consider as white, if you're really annoyed by the pawns and you want your rooks to have more space, try to open up a file, is you have to look at playing pawn on the c file up 1 square to challenge and hopefully open up the d file.
And he's going after the knight, but
yeah, we wanted, so it'd be nice to have more space, bring both rooks behind. This is definitely a good idea by Jeffrey, but black has enough resources to defend everything, and then you're worried about your pieces being overextended.
But does Sindarov have like a clear way to improve his position?
No, that's why it's like double-edged in a way that I don't think the players are, it's equal, but it can open up and get dangerous for either side very quickly. We see the c-pawn being pushed to make sense. You don't have easy plans. Don't have easy plans if your rooks can't get in the game. And even the rook, the advanced rook on the f-file, yes, you're aimed at this knight, but the knight's defended by the king, and you can't get more pressure on. So white's looking to try to get the queen in the game, looking for a clear plan with this rook on the back rank. In the meantime, Black's pretty happy with the setup. Making progress is the harder part. The main reason being that the e file, that nice square on the second rank, is covered by white's bishop. We see some exchanges here. So now this is a passed pawn. Sindarov has a passed pawn, but the reason white is okay with that is it can also be a weakness. And now the rooks have a plan. Right? So, okay, instead of recapturing, we have a Zwischenzug. That's a nice move, an in-between move. Because I was going to say, if white has time, just move all the rooks, target the d4 pawn, but knight moving to the middle, attacking that queen.
He's improving his position.
The big reason why this is a nice move is next move black will recapture, and then potentially there's a square on the c file, defended, anchored in by that d pawn. So the knight advancing from the, near the king all the way to the queen side could be considered serious progress for Sindarov. And Shang here is taking some time to figure this out.
He's spending a lot of time. And he is trying to keep his queen in the middle of the board.
Now again, this knight. If you take here, if you bring your knight in, the question is whether the pawn is loose. So that's what Sindarov's calculating. Is the pawn loose? Yes or no? Or do you have to use some time and defend? You don't want to lose that passed pawn.
He's defending it.
And exactly, I like this. If you have to be conservative, you can move the other rook back, covering this, reinforcing this, and then eventually your knight will finally hop into that square and push white a little further back. So I definitely favor black's chances here because white doesn't seem to have targets. The main target is this pawn here, but that's still defended adequately by Sindarov. So the move we see here on the board right now, moving the bishop, harassing this rook. What's the goal? Just harassing.
Yeah, but if the rook has to remain on that file, maybe is there any opportunities of some back and forth here then? Because maybe Jean can now threaten the f-pawn again.
You can threaten it, and that's what he's done, but there's a few different ways to approach it. You can move the pawn up so you don't have to deal with it. You can move the knight here, attacking the rook, defending the pawn, and maybe bring the knight towards this file, this e-file square where it defends everything. It's definitely better for Sindarov right now.
Yeah, but they're going
As long
to
as he
have
doesn't
only a
move
minute
it.
left. It's going to come down to the clocks as well.
Okay. I like what White's doing. White doesn't have a clear plan, but just harassing. Every single move is just attacking something. And what's the one? The rook's just loose.
Oh,
the rook is
wow.
loose. The rook is loose.
Oh,
That's
goodness.
it. The rook is just loose. But does he see? He doesn't see it. Doesn't see the pin. Oh my goodness. That was not hard to find. But both players had, it's called, mutual blindness in chess. Happens all the time. And what a miss. The problem is there weren't really tactics before that moment. So just Zhang wasn't looking for it. But that was an elementary pin.
I've heard Magnus say that doing these kinds of like tactics isn't always useful because the most important thing to be able to know is when to start looking for them. And that's not usually what you're actually practicing when you're doing tactics. You're just practicing being in the mode of always doing a crazy move. But here, wow.
And that's why we see black retreating their pieces. So they're all covered. Nothing's loose.
Do you think
all
any
on
of them
dark
realized
squares.
afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm wondering how
Sindarov
much,
realized.
like, if you get a little bit shaken by realizing, oh my
Oh,
goodness.
that's a
my
nice
rook
move,
is
though,
hanging.
by Zhang. That's pinning the rook, harassing so many different points. 3 different things are under pressure right now. Even 4 if we count the pawn.
Wow.
Centralizing the queen. That is a nice square.
Trying to trade
And
it off.
Trading it off, but losing an A-pawn. Now white has a protected passed A-pawn. So things are favoring white now. Black is the one in trouble because at some point, if you're playing white, trade off pieces, it's a winning endgame if you can trade off pieces.
But what?
There's a trick here. If you take the knight, checkmate, wins the game in the corner square on the H file.
But how does he save the rook at all?
That is a great question.
He just gave up.
He just couldn't find a move.
Wow, that was a very important victory for Sindarov, and it kind of came out of nowhere. This suddenly became very tactical.
It was a very provocative move, and just backfired.
And we managed to see Maxime Vachier-Lagrave take his 8th win in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's
Incredible
capable
comeback.
of that.
Incredible. And he has then, and we also see that Esipenko has also gotten to 8 points now. And Sindarov in the lead that we just saw reach 8.5 points in that tactical battle towards the end. So the big names, they're coming back from the depths of the standings.
Well, some big names have disappeared. Where's Caruana?
And where is Hikaru?
Where's Hikaru? I see Grishuk popping up there, but we've lost some big dogs.
Wow. It's going to be very exciting now with only 2 rounds remaining. And Movahed, who had at a certain point won all of his games, he's only lost the game that he hadn't shown up for. He does win again now. But that must be heartbreaking to disconnect during the tournament and just losing around in the middle. It could be so important for him to get those points. And
let me check how Aman did.
Yes, please do. And we do see that we are going to get some top guys facing off against each other now in the 10th
Aman
round.
won with 1.7 seconds.
Wow.
So
he
he's
is
doing
able to
very well.
flag
He's on
people.
7 points.
Really? Wow. 7 points. He could beat your record.
I said 8 points was the goal, and he's got 2 rounds to at least get 8.
Wow.
At least get 8.
And we're following Sindarov against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Maxime won last week. He could win 2 Title Tuesdays back to back. That's only done by the likes of Hikaru or Magnus. And so that would be very huge for him. Playing a fried liver attack thing here.
Well, the Swiss Gambit would be exciting because I tend to sometimes lose my first round too. So in some ways, I'm almost rooting for Maxime because if you can lose round 1 and still do it, it's hard. Like that's, as I said, your tie breaks are really bad that you pretty much have to win out. And yeah, they're going for this fried liver opening. You take some pawns as white. It's a bit greedy. You give black the initiative, but theory's developed quite a bit here, and Sindarov playing quickly. It's a wild position, honestly.
Yeah.
Just wild. There's a knight hanging, and you're wondering, is that on purpose? It absolutely is. Count the pawns. Once you win that knight, it'll be 3 pawns for a knight, which is what we say double-edged. We could say equivalent, but some positions a knight's better. Wait, what's going on? Is there a move here? It's hard to recount theory. To be honest, I don't know this line that well. But, oh, that might be the move. Now the knight is not happy to be fianchettoed on the queen side. 3 pawns can be better than knight or worse. Really depends the position, how effective the pieces are. But black's pawn structure is also not very good on the queen side. A couple of isolated pawns. So looking at this, at the same time, MVL loves sharp positions. So he might prefer the piece. That's why he went for this. Let's see. Bishop check. King is likely to slide over. As white, you want to be in a position where black takes your knight. Then your queen jumps in the game and you have clarity. The tension is somewhat annoying.
And they are following each other closely on the clocks, but truly a very chaotic start. I feel like both players have been showing quite a bit of ambition so far. They really want to win this title Tuesday. And Maxime, he kind of has to win to pass Sindarov here. So a lot of pressure is facing these two.
Yeah, sacking the exchange, and now you can move your knight. Your knight's no longer trapped. A lot to calculate here. What white wants to do is find an endgame and argue that the pawn structure drives in an advantage. And, okay, so that's an example. Still down in exchange, but what's the material? It's 2 pawns and a bishop for a rook. 2 pawns and a bishop for a rook. And I think you can make a good case of the bishop and 2 pawns. Bishops are good in open positions. At the same time, there's so much to calculate, it's hard to really generalize, but the knight, that knight for black is one of the pieces I'm worried about, and that's why the knight's being brought in to harass the light squared bishop, find a way to contain it. If I'm playing white, I don't want to give that up unless I get something very good like an exchange back. So I'm looking at maybe moving the bishop out of the way or fianchettoing and arguing that there's something tactical coming on, like bishop here and knight here.
That looks uncomfortable.
It does. It does.
And Sindarov spending some time now trying to figure out.
These are 2 very, very sharp players. They love complications because you can imagine this position isn't actually easy to play quickly, and they are playing pretty fast for the position. Wow. That knight is now properly hanging. If you're wondering before, the queen never captured it because it'd get pinned. You'd lose the queen. In this case, the knight has to move. And also, it's got a path towards productivity. Once the knight reaches this square, gains access, centralizes, and it's safe. As white, I want to support my center, probably make some space for my king down the road, develop my bishop, and then I'm happy. Okay. And black wants to make that
as difficult
as possible. Like tactics, don't get the setup. I still want to play this. Yeah. And he's played it. Yeah. It's just good habits. Make some space for your king. Freeze the pawns a little bit. And if we talk about material, earlier I was saying there's 2 pawns and a bishop. Now it's only 1 pawn and a bishop. 1 pawn and a bishop for the exchange. Is that decent? It's still quite decent because it's a very good bishop. This light squared bishop, however, MBL is fighting on pretty well. King position, you can say that white's king looks safer because black has advanced the pawns a bit further. But there's a future where maybe black decides to use that to their advantage and pressure white's own king. In the meantime, if black is just shuffling, the bishops will get stronger. This pawn on the d file, this black pawn in the center is a long-term target. White wants to bring the rook into the game, maximize the bishop pair and the activity. That's what the compensation will be. Wouldn't be surprised to see a repetition. MVL decides not to repeat there, though. It wasn't a full repetition, but the rooks can easily get chased around by the bishops, although I might want to reinforce. I don't want anything hanging. And I'm also worried about this move at some point. Not yet. Watch out for ideas where you sacrifice another exchange.
And win the queen.
And win the queen. But it has to be done properly, because moving the bishops are good in these loose positions with open diagonals. The rooks are not at their maximum for black, so I like the bishop pair. And now white seizes that diagonal because black can't block, piles on the isolated pawn here, and things are collapsing. The liabilities are visible here.
Wow.
The two weaknesses are easily harassed by white's pieces, and oftentimes this will either lead to a material advantage for white or a significant time advantage because black has to find uncomfortable moves. I think that's a sacrifice. He's giving it back because he didn't like the position. Wasn't a blunder, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And Sindarov is just increasing in his advantage ever so slowly. And now...
It's a pawn up for Sindarov. Pinning. That was a very risky move by Sindarov, walking into the pin. Look at the pin. Even if you grab this pawn, the rook is ready to double up behind the queen.
Oh, and now he's trying to get his pawn to support his bishop.
Oh, I like that move. That's a very fine move. That's a very, very fine move. Finding a way to bring the bishop back in the game.
Wow.
Probably elevate your rook.
He's defending himself well against the threats that Maxime has. They're both down to a minute
white
and 20
is up
seconds.
a pawn. King should be pretty safe here.
The time is going to be important.
That extra pawn is huge in a lot of these endgames. Black has to probably keep the queens on the board. The rook endgame looks pretty miserable to me because the A pawn on the edge of the board is isolated, can easily be attacked, but also these kingside pawns as well. Wow, okay. I think the rook endgame is really, really annoying.
Maxime looked a little bit annoyed there.
Now the rook is in a passive spot. That's the problem. The rook is passive for the rest of the game.
Where is Sindarov's king going to go?
You have to push again as black. You can't allow white to play this. You can't allow white to support it. No, I don't think that can be played. I think this is lost. You're going to lose that second pawn, and there's going to be connected passers. It probably was already losing, so I'm not sure what MVL missed, but he's trying a couple more tricks. Give up one pawn and then push your own pawn down the board. Harass the king here. Time, though, is an issue for black. Material is an issue. It's going to take consecutive blunders here. 3 pawns up for Sindarov. And simply the case is the king can walk over towards the file, the E file.
Wow, and Sindarov could move to 9.5
Lots of
points.
options. You can pick up a pawn this way. 37 seconds. His conversion earlier wasn't that good, but this position up 3 pawns, most likely 4 or 3 pawns, and up on the clock. MVL's going to check, though. He's going to be a little bit annoying.
Oh,
There's a trick. Don't take the pawn. He sees the trick. He almost took it, maybe. Nice trick by MVL. If you grabbed that pawn, you would have been checked. Would have lost a rook. We would have seen a rage moment. Now it's 2 pawns for white and the time advantage. That's very tough. Check. Defend. Swing the king over.
Oh, but he still has a little bit left here in this game.
Yeah, just 10 seconds down on the clock. White needs to blunder everything to catch up here. You're going to move your rook, sacrifice the pawn, and just walk the king in. It's a win on the board and on the clock. Just a couple more moves left. Here we go. There's the resignation coming in. The pawn queens. Wow. Sindarov on 9.5 out of 10. It's a chance he's wrapped up the tournament on tiebreaks. We don't know that for sure, but 9.5, a full point ahead, and leading. Usually you've played the stronger field.
Yeah, that
guarantees some very good points for the standings for
There are 3 players who can catch up to him. And of course, this will depend on the tiebreaks, but I can actually see here on my screen that Nepomniachtchi, who has the best tiebreaks, he's far behind Sindarov. And Sindarov, he's gotten 1 draw in the 3rd round. And besides that, he's won every single game he's played, and he's been looking very strong. So very promising for him. Could be his first Title Tuesday win since they changed the format just some months ago. And that would be really big for him. Headed into the Freestyle World Championship this weekend. He's really on a roll these days. And now he's playing against Theodoru in the last round. Theodoru, who needs to defeat Sindarov to even have a chance to win the tournament on tiebreaks. Can the Greek Grandmaster do it? He's got the white pieces.
I think I might have called the standings early for him on. I think he's on 7, playing Wesley So.
He's on 7 in the final round, playing Wesley So. Wow.
I think that's the case.
That is an exciting last round.
We'll look at that after. Theodoru, we haven't covered one of his games today, but a really, really strong classical player now, about 2650, but Blitz 3270, and he's playing these tournaments regularly, and he's got a lot of marquee wins. Has a pretty wide style, very ambitious. One of the players I saw that used chess.com quite a bit, especially during COVID, elevated his level. And then once he started playing classical tournaments, found success right away. But it wasn't a surprise to those that were on chess.com because he would have long matches against players like Hikaru or Nihal Sarin or you name it. And he was doing very well. So it doesn't surprise me to see him near the top, and they're playing this topical line in the Catalan, where at some point, Black has a worse pawn structure, those doubled C pawns, but White's lost their nice bishop, the fianchettoed bishop, the light squared bishop. So with pieces on the board, you can see how the light squares, your king looks a little bit loose on G1 without protection. So a bit of compensation for Black. The line has a decent reputation, but those are the, Black's trying to use, another point of the C file, the double pawns, is rook b8. When you have double pawns, it probably means the file's opened up, and Black's going to make life as annoying as possible. And part of that is making sure it's not easy for White to just move the knight out of the way and pick up this doubled pawn on the C file.
And he needs to win. Is there anything in the way that Theodoru is playing that is telling you that he really is playing for the win he needs?
No, I mean, I think he's an ambitious player. He's always playing for a win from my experience playing him and looking at the games. And it just makes sense. He's got White final round. He's playing the leader. This line is just double-edged inherently, even with opposite bishops. Even opposite bishops is not a draw in chess, especially when there's lots of pieces on the board. It can be very double-edged and very interesting. So Black is not in a position to just trade everything off and secure the tournament because, as we mentioned, Sindarov is up a full point on the field. So draw clinches first place. But make no mistake, White's not going to give that easily. White would like to argue in the long run that the doubled C pawns and the A pawn, these 3 pawns are weak pawns. They can be considered weak or, in some positions, plucked off the board. But not yet, because Black is making life very difficult in terms of just trading things off.
I have been informed that Sindarov, he has won Title Tuesday. He won Gameweek 7 in this split, so just a couple of weeks ago. And this could be his 2nd victory then. Would also be very important for him with regards to the Champions Chess Tour points. He's qualifying for the Esports World Cup. He has such a busy chess schedule, Sindarov, but I'm sure that he would make time to play the Esports World Cup. He is signed to an esports team. And the question is if he's already won the tournament because he has such good tiebreaks. But regardless of if he has or not, I'm sure he's playing for everything that he's got.
Wow.
Oh!
Repeating.
Never mind what I said.
Okay, a bit. Yeah, I mean, I thought I thought he'd try to play on for a win, but this might secure a podium spot for Theodoro, give him some good points in the standings. So, but that means the tournament's clinched by Sindarov, right?
Yes, Sindarov is the winner, and we are jumping into an end game just as Aman likes it, where he actually has more time than Wesley So and a huge advantage. What's going on here?
Well, we've seen the structure earlier. Aman played a London. He took on f6, so doubled the pawns. He's up on time. This is exciting. This is a great spot to be in. White doesn't want to trade the bishops here, potentially because it might correct the pawn structure. Maybe you do trade the bishops, but the reason you hesitate is black has the doubled f pawns, and trading on e6 would remove that. On the other hand, Aman does like endgames, so it's hard to predict. And
he's spending quite a bit of time here.
no, it is a tough decision here. I think there's a part of him that feels like he should trade. It takes away a lot of the risk and trade, maybe queenside. He trades. Yeah, I've had a feeling this would happen. Now, queenside castle's an idea. Black's only a couple moves away. There we go. Yeah, he's traded in queenside castle. I think black is okay here, though. So probably Aman knew objectively he didn't make the best decision, but this is easier to play. I'd like to think that was the case because black's structure was corrected. There is a issue, though. The knight is fine in this endgame, but oftentimes they say a bishop is better than a knight in open position. Look at that move. Look at that move. Practically an annoying move. Bishop check. Sacrificing the bishop, but you're going to regain the piece. The rook will slide in here, not only winning a piece back, but activating the rook. Oh, man. Aman offering to trade into this endgame where he's down the position has completely turned here. Black was worse. Now black is up a pawn. Black is up on time. And there's almost nothing on the board.
Oh, no. We're kind of rooting for Aman now that we feel like we've always kind of jumped into his game when he's lost. Like, he's never had good luck.
He had a good position when he jumped in, and I feel like, yeah, you have put some, he can feel your presence.
No.
But Aman likes fortresses. Not everyone believes in fortresses. And he's looking long and hard here, going to try to make things very difficult. Black's goal is to create a pass pawn. So probably that means moving your king as black towards the queenside pawns so that you're in position to play b5. And once you play b5, you either take and have your a pawn, or you'll have the pass c pawn. Aman has to sit still here, catch up on the clock. Sit still, catch up on the clock. Black is eventually looking to create a pass pawn. And I say eventually. You can really torture your opponent, especially when you're up on the clock. There we go. The b pawn's pushed. But remember, even a passed pawn, if it's the a pawn, it's not that easy to push on its own. A provocative move, but look at what Aman's done. The pawns are on light squares. The knight's centralized on the d file. It's covering all the entry squares. I'd say this is very good defense so far by white. Aman's looking for a fortress, making sure that king can't penetrate, and he's like, I will give you a passed pawn. I will. But it's only going to be the a pawn, and the a pawn will not run over my king. So shuffling by Aman, he's down lots of time. He's going to have to continue to shuffle here. Does he have a fortress? I don't believe so. It'd be too simple in chess if it always worked when you're down a pawn. But he's making life difficult.
Wow.
Wesley will eventually push this pawn and try to create a pass c pawn. I think that'd be a better idea. There we go. Aman's probably likely to move the knight back towards... No, that doesn't look right.
Oh, no.
Because after this move, his knight can hardly move.
Oh, no.
The knight can hardly move. That bishop is dominating the knight. Now you can stretch out the position. Now you can push that pawn.
Very good technique from Wesley here in this endgame. Taking his time.
Problem is also 15 seconds. Aman was in time trouble.
Oh, and the pawn. Can't take the bishop.
So what you can do is you can probably take here, push and just bring your king. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but the knight is dominated. That's the issue.
And the other issue is the clock, but Aman seems to be making peace with the fact that he's not going to win this game.
Wesley taking away every square from that knight.
Wow. But impressive.
Going for a stalemate trick.
Oh.
Don't push that a-pawn.
Wesley had to think a little bit.
And yeah, checkmate in a couple of moves. Aman is flagged. That's a win for Wesley. A couple of moves away from checkmate.
But a tough opponent to face in the final round when he was trying to beat your record, or not record, but your score here when you were playing in the Take studio was 7.5. He doesn't manage it, but he faces one of the best players in the world in the final round.
Yeah, but he's going to be unhappy because he was up on time in a position he likes. So that's a position where he has high expectations of himself. I don't think he came in, I think he said he wasn't expecting to win the whole tournament, but when he gets in his positions, he's confident against anyone in the world. And that should be one of his positions.
So as we can see, Sindarov, he was undefeated. He has won the tournament already. And Sam Sevian, he did win his final round to try to catch up, but he only got 9.5. And still some games ongoing, still some tie breaks being calculated. A lot of players on 9 points. And these placements here in the end are very important for how many points they get for the leaderboard, which in turn, again, determines who is qualified for the EWC. Hikaru wins his final round. So let's see if he pops up on the leaderboard, but it doesn't look like it so far. And
look at Faustino. Like, he is by far, his blitz rating is very high, so it shouldn't be a surprise, but he's surrounded by pretty much super grandmasters and veterans. Like, that's 9 points is really excellent. From him. Yeah, because that's a name. We know how young and talented he is, but like, he's with killers here. MVL, Grishuk, ahead of Nepo. He hasn't won a Title Tuesday yet, I think, but getting close. Getting very close.
And Sam Sevian clinching second place, and Theodoru, who he gets the third spot, and Kamer also gets some points with his 10th place. So this is going to be interesting to see how the standings, the Champions Chess Tour standings, now look after this win from Sindarov. We can see a couple of movements here, and or no, we can't see any movements here. That's actually quite exceptional. Nobody in the top positions here made any changes. They didn't gain any points. So that is pretty crazy. But here we see the split 2 standings. We can see it. We can see that Sevian, he does get quite a couple of points for his second place. And Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, Sindarov obviously climbing, but incredible that hasn't been enough thanks to the Speed Chess Championship points that the players did get. So Sindarov, he's not guaranteed to play the Esports World Cup just yet. But we'd expect him to, right?
Yeah. No, there's a few different ways to qualify this. You want to get it done as early as possible, but his name is going to be in the mix no matter what.
And we're trying to hear from Sindarov. We don't have him available just yet, but we're hoping to hear from the now 2 times Title Tuesday winner. It would also be interesting to hear from Wesley So now that we have the Freestyle World Championship coming up. And he did win his final round. I always feel like that's important if you want to talk to somebody after a chess tournament. If they win the final round, they're usually in a better mood.
Yeah, but he's finished in 29th place. I don't think for him that's what he was hoping for, because he didn't get any points. That's the goal of playing this event, to win it, to improve his standing, and that wasn't the case. If he was playing Aman, they're both on 7 points. This is someone who's been at the very top, top 5, not being ranked number 2 before, so you can try. I hope he says hi, but I can understand also if he's a bit frustrated that he didn't have a chance to compete for the top prizes today.
But let's take a look at one of the more interesting moments from these final rounds. These 2 top guys, 7.5 points each, less than a minute. There were tactics everywhere, and there was even a rook hanging at a certain point here, Eric.
Yeah, a couple moves earlier, there's the rook pinned on the file, and looking back on the tournament, that was a key moment because Sindarov ends up winning the tournament, and that was his main blunder we saw. We didn't see him blunder much. There was a rook hanging, which is very excusable, and that would have changed everything. So I think Shang will definitely be thinking about that tonight.
And Sindarov, who ended up actually going undefeated through this tournament, he only got a draw in round 3 and 11. And this was probably one of the closest games we saw him to losing, but he did win this important game, which left him coming out on top. He secures 10 points actually for the Champions Chess Tour standings, but as we did see, he isn't guaranteed to play in the Esports World Cup just yet, even though we do expect him to. And very soon we will also be hearing from Aman about his experience playing from Magnus's office. Do you think he's going to be happy with his result?
I think the final round will determine that, and so my answer is probably going to be no. That final round, he had a chance against Wesley, would have been a nice finish. So I'll say he'll be slightly disappointed.
And here I do see him entering the studio. So let's get ready to hear from Aman Hambleton, our streaming guest today.
Here we go.
All right, so Aman, we've got you in the studio. What was your reaction when you were facing Wesley So in the final round of Title Tuesday?
I thought it was a terrible event for Wesley. Poor guy. Yeah. If you're playing me in the last round, you've not had a good one. I think he was probably a little upset to be only on 7 points at that point.
But what about you? How are you satisfied with 7 points? You finished half a point behind Eric when he was playing in the studio here, but it's tough to play under pressure.
It is. I don't think the studio added any more pressure for me personally. So I didn't feel it was that. I can only look at myself, like missed opportunities, tactics blundered. I actually blundered a checkmate in 1 earlier in the event, so that was probably my worst blunder. And I'm maybe in a way happiest with my games against the strongest players. So I just didn't get off to a good start. I didn't play many strong players, and I wish that I did because those were actually my best games.
Because we were watching the game you played against Sam, and I mean, your position in the end game there was very good, and but sadly you had too little time.
I did. It's a constant problem of mine, so maybe some people are just finding out. But for me, that's very standard. I will say though, when you're playing a stronger player, they kind of make worse moves because they're trying to play for time. So I won't say that I just totally outplayed him, got this winning end game, because that's probably not the reality. I think he kind of gave it to me a little bit because I think we were kind of shuffling. So it felt like a draw and a good game, but not one that I feel too bad about. And if you're up that much time, you probably should flag me.
All right, and I'm also informed now that we are joined by Sindarov. Aman, you can just join us for this interview as well.
Okay.
Because Sindarov, he did win the tournament with 10 out of 11. He was really on a roll. He was undefeated, and we're going to hear from him in just a moment. But also, Aman, do you in any way blame us for the fact that we delayed you going into the 5th round by at least 30 seconds?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, when the game started, I was happy to have that excuse ready. So just as a professional streamer, I had that locked and loaded. So when the game didn't go my way, I knew I had that to count on. But in reality, of course, you never know how the game's going to go. For me, though, you could make the argument 20 seconds is a bigger deal from my clock than anyone else's, because I'm always low on time.
We apologize for that. But anyways, we are going to say congratulations. We are now joined by Yakovir Sindarov. Congratulations on winning your 2nd Title Tuesday.
Yes, hello. Thank you. I'm very happy.
And you went undefeated, but there was a moment today when you let your rook hang. Did you see that right afterwards?
Sorry?
Did you see the moment when your rook was hanging in the game against...
Shang, against Jeffrey. After rook g3, the rook on f5.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, I played... He takes on a5, and I played some strange move, and he can take on d8, yeah?
No, I think it's queen takes f5. Was queen takes f5 with a rook on
I
g3?
thought so.
You have a rook on f5, knight on f4. It's before this, right? I think.
I think
no,
so.
I didn't say
Here.
really.
Okay, well,
No,
maybe
I saw,
you.
like, I was losing against Nepomniachtchi after rook f5. I was like completely shocked when I played rook f5. It's crazy.
Okay, well, you had some moments today where you were kind of hanging on by a thread, but you ended up going undefeated. So that was very impressive.
Yeah, in usual, I always try to play solid, and yeah, and for me it's like important to don't lose, and I don't try to push, but when they try to beat me, I'm trying to my best and try to find everything, and of course, I mean some games I played very bad, of course, but I think Nepo, if he plays after rook f7, king f7, queen e7, I just can resign. But I was like very lucky. He played like immediately rook f1, and maybe he missed king g8, and he was thinking like he has knight f6. But I was protecting everything. No, it's like very nice tournament. After no, I mean after. I was like arrived today in 3 hours ago from my flight to Dubai, and I just tried to play with chill and maybe get some points, but I didn't expect I will win this tournament.
Yeah, and you have a very busy chess schedule ahead of you because you're also playing in the Freestyle World Championship this weekend.
Yes, because my flight was after 4 hours.
So that's where you're getting ready already.
Ago, and I will fly it after 4 hours, not 3, maybe 5 hours ago. And my flight was after 4 hours. So I should need to prepare my luggage, and it's a long way to Hamburg.
Yeah, and you're going to be playing in the World Championship. Could be a title there. What are your expectations heading into that field with 7 other very strong players?
Yeah, it's like first time it's a World Championship title. It will be this tournament. And of course there is Magnus, Fabi. It will be a very interesting tournament. I will just try to enjoy and play some good chess.
Okay, here we're showing you here, Sindarov. I'm sorry if this is mean, but here is the case. Eric, maybe you can play out the moves to show that this situation here where the rook was hanging. I think it's maybe not this situation.
No, it's not here, should be.
Yes.
It's not here.
No.
I mean, this is.
But the one against Nepo with rook, yeah.
No, one is
that's a good
Nepo.
one.
It's
That's
crazy.
a nice
I
one.
played, like, so quickly. Rook f5 is crazy.
Well, but even despite this mistake, I mean, you still managed to go undefeated in Title Tuesday. So congratulations on winning a second time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I mean, for me, it's like second time in a row. Hopefully, I will
Yeah.
get the third time.
You're on a really good roll, but you're not qualified for the Esports World Cup just yet, by the way. You need to get even more points, so we'll hope to see you in future Tuesdays.
But right now, I don't have a lot of tournaments, and I have all of my time to play Title Tuesday, so I will try my best.
Except for what you're doing this weekend, but good luck with that as well.
Thank you.
All right, so that was the winner of this titled Tuesday. Aman, how else would you like to summarize the day? You've lost the battle you had against Eric for getting the most amount of points in the studio, but it was fun?
Yeah, it was fun. It's tough for Sindarov. Talk about his one blunder when he's 10.5 out of 11, but that's a good problem to have. I kept spectating Sindarov's games when I was getting beat so quickly, so I had time to check them. I enjoyed playing the event from the studio. Honestly, I haven't played Title Tuesday very often, so it truly is special for me to play the event. And I said, if we go to the studio here, take, I would play then. So it is a unique opportunity for me to get back in Title Tuesday. It was special to get a chance to play some of the top guys. I really wish I started better. That's all. I don't really regret some of the way that I played. I had some exciting games, some classic Aman Hambleton low on time moments. And yeah, played well against the top guys. I just wish I got to play more of them.
All right. Well, thank you to the Chess Broad duo for being here in the studio with us, and see everybody else next week. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's a blunder. That's just a blunder. Discover check, picks up the
Wow.
queen.
And his opponent resigns.
No.
He's winning a pawn here. He's in a winning position. He's got to show off his speed. 4 seconds.
Can he get a draw at least?
It's going to be tough. He has to trade the rooks off. Find a way to trade the rooks off.
He's making
Just
quick moves.
no time. You have to trade the rooks off. You got to gamble. No, and he knows it.
What are you gonna do?
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Push.
The pre-move. But maybe he has time to take all the pawns?
Nope.
Here we go.